Okay.
Yes. We are live.
Sorry, Lucky started the countdown, and I was me like, my ears are sweaty. So
Oh no.
I had to adjust my headphones. We're fine. We're going, though. Audio's rolling. We are captured.
Yes.
Alrighty. Hello. Welcome to What's Up. The one where the up is what.
At least it's not up.
We're hopefully going to have a very fine show for you today.
We
It will be
have.
about things and stuff.
We do have things and stuff. Yes.
Much stuff. Okay. Before we get too much further, as people roll into the live stream, I will remind everybody this episode is brought to you by our patrons like Adam DeHar, Comics, Heretic 10, Legos Doji, Carlos Dragon Ferris, Jeremy Vasquez, Jonathan Sandoval, Legendary Boss Under Liam Kessler, Reacher, Rogue Robin, Trevor, Shawnee P, some guy named Bob, and Cyber23. If you like what we do and want to see us do more, consider supporting us on Patreon. You can get access to episodes early on some of the goodies. It really helps us out.
Thank you.
I could do that. Felt like it.
No, you couldn't.
I don't know. I could probably try. I can do the patron read pretty fast. You just need to memorize the script.
Well, yeah, but that's the memorization of the script. Also, Rich, I see
But,
you getting in there. Like, no, this is single player. This is single player.
Yeah, we're closed now. I think that'll do better. So,
Yeah.
Lucky has Terraria pulled up again. There was some debate on this.
Yeah.
Oh, see you. Soon. Catch the VOD later. Many people have to catch the VODs. So, first of all, we should say, because this is What's Up. Last week there was a What's Up.
Yes.
Some stuff was in it. But if you want even more stuff, go watch Bloodstain. Streamed Monday. Because that was basically What's Up Part 2.
It was.
Partially because I think we did that thing we do. Like, I think one of our, like, worst for the audience What's Up episodes ever is the one where we turned it just into a co-op stream of us playing Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it was fun for us, but I don't think it did very well as an episode of What's Up. So I don't want to say last week's What's Up was that bad, but with the Terraria thing, there was definitely some like distraction back and forth for all of us as we were futzing around trying to play the game in server mode and stuff.
Yeah, no, when I realize this, when I play a game in multiplayer mode, I usually have to dedicate some brain space to minding the other players and whatnot. So I think it's best.
If nothing else, you get notifications when stuff happens to other players in Terraria. So.
Yeah. So this is just single player. I'll be able to basically probably play it just as well as any other game I play single player on What's Up. So
Yeah, so we're futzing around, but if you wanted to catch up with some of the subjects that we did not discuss, Lucky had a big long list. Go ahead and check out Bloodstained. It's like 4 hours. You'll get all your stuff in there. There was a list. And I want to say there was one thing that I still keep forgetting to mention, but I will say it now, right at the top. Remembered it. I tweeted about this too, but I'll throw it out on What's Up. We occasionally talk about music and stuff, and we'll be talking about many other interesting media things. But I do want to throw out there that, as you know, my music tastes a little eclectic. Plenty of, classic rock in there and stuff, and various other genres, a lot of soundtracks and things. Modern pop music, what's that? Don't even know it. But I like the electronica as well, and I have been a big fan of the band Glitch Mob for a long time. They recently put on YouTube basically the full stream version of their anniversary album, which is basically just remixes or re-recordings of some of their best songs over the past few years, and I think it's really cool. It's great. You may or may not know the Glitch Mob. I don't know how popular their music is other places. But at least according to my YouTube recommendations, you have probably heard of them for their remix of Seven Nation Army.
yes.
They did, which every single person has put to an AMV ever. So, yeah, you may have heard of them. They're those guys, and their album's just on YouTube. It's, like I said, a remix of a lot of their greatest hits, and it's really sick, so go check it out. But okay, all right. We got our pleasantries out of the way. Where do we want to begin? Where do we want to begin, Lucky?
Well, we got two overwhelming topics.
Yeah, we got two big ones.
Mm-hmm. But since people constantly ask about it in mailbag, I'm gonna actually give an update here. So I actually everyone's always constantly asking, "Hey, Lucky, is your scooter fixed?" The answer is still no. But I tried. I fucking tried today. I actually went out today. I ran around. I went to several bike shops. Unfortunately, it does not seem like there are many in the way of electric scooter shops. Like, there's bike shops, there's electric bike shops, There's, motor vehicle scooter shops. No electric, electric scooter shops. I'm a little, It's a little hard. I might have to take this thing apart myself and try to put it back together. Which for me is always a mixed bag. Like, I like to say, I'm not dumb. I'm not necessarily inept either, but when you take apart something, there's always that chance that when you put it back together, something's just not going to be quite right. And I'm always just a little about that, especially when it comes to, like, electric or mechanical things. I'm just all like, oh man, it's not supposed to be making that noise now. What did I do? It's always, oh god, it's always a strain. But no, so I'm just gonna have to try and order the new tire. I'm gonna have to take this handy dandy tool bag that the manufacturers actually send with the system, so you can do all this lovely maintenance yourself. Yay, thanks.
Well, that's good at least.
Yeah. And I'm gonna have to try and do this myself, and I am concernicus, very concernicus. But
well, at least you have the internet.
Is that cloud fucking Eye of Cthulhu? It is.
It is. That cheeky motherfucker. They've done a lot with... we talked about this actually on stream, but Terraria has done so many amazing things with their updates.
Yeah.
Like, they've done so many atmospheric... Like, you'll notice how all the trees are swaying in the breeze. It's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah, no, I've noticed plenty of things in the background. Like, sometimes you'll see fucking the Eye of Cthulhu just running around in the background, like, yay! And, like, other things. But that was the first time I've seen the fucking cloud. How dare they? How dare they? Those cheeky gits.
There's some other weird, interesting clouds up there, too.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah. I have another minor thing. People may be wondering about an update. Unspoilers. This episode will contain no Omega thoughts on Deathloop. No, I haven't even started it yet. I think very briefly I could probably talk about my relationship with Skyward Sword pretty fast. That'll be related to some stuff that comes back later. But, yeah, I have been slugging away at Skyward Sword, which is probably the best way to put it. I've read somewhere that the developers for Skyward Sword deliberately went with a deep approach, an approach of depth versus width, as opposed to, say, Twilight Princess. Mm-hmm. Twilight Princess is a wide game. The things you do in some of the areas are not very intense, but there's a fairly large map, and you do a lot of moving around and stuff.
Yeah.
Skyward Sword is not that. There's, like, 3 zones that you kind of spiral out from, plus the overworld map in the sky. Which... being in the sky is mostly empty except for, like, 2 things that matter. It's more like 3, but you know what I mean. So you do a lot of revisiting to places and doing it almost Metroidvania style, like, now you have the double claw shots, now you can go here. And I'm like, yeah, I got the double claw shots, sick. I think it's, like, the second to last thing I earn. I have 1 more slot. I think I'm finally about to get the bow and arrow, and I'm, like, 50 or 60% through the game. And that's the other thing. I'm only 50 or 60% through the game, even though I feel like I should be more like 75. Like, I'm in my 2nd round of quests, and I'm like, okay, and then the big finish. And then they're like, no. I'm like, oh. So, philosophically, I like a lot of the stuff Skyward Sword does, like with its themes. I mean, it's an anniversary game, no matter how you slice it. Mm-hmm. The original was released in the 25th anniversary year, and the HD remaster in the 35th year. So, like, there's so many deep lore cuts and funny references and stuff to all the different characters. And I'm not, unlike some people, I'm not opposed to the world building going on. And there's some actual really interesting things. Like, I really like what they did with the design aesthetic of Lanryu in this. It's a desert. That area is the water area. But it used to be a green water area in the even more distant past, which you can see with the power of time stones. Because it's also full of little robot guys and, like, high weird Magitech shit. And has a electric association for some reason, which explains why Urbosa and her sacred beast in the Gerudo Desert have a lightning theme in Breath of the Wild. Even though that's a completely different area. So, like, they do some interesting things. Like, there's some cues I see from the design elements. But, mostly what playing Skyward Sword is, and I know I don't have time for this, is mostly like, man, I really do need to buy the Season Pass for Breath of the Wild and play that game again. That game was good. I liked that game. I don't want to say I dislike Skyward Sword, but I have two problems. 1, oh my god, every single thing in this game was designed for motion controls. And, okay, that's cool. That means everything is kind of handcrafted. Oh my god, everything is so tedious. Like... every single enemy can, like, react and block to your moves, and you have to strike in the exact same way. and you have to like go through the motions of like pulling out your, even without motion controls, you have to go through the action to like wiggle the right stick to pull out your sword and then slash it in the right way. And it's like, oh my god, guys, I'm playing Legend of Zelda. I don't want to spend 5 minutes fighting a bokoblin. I want to like do puzzles and stuff, but like save that for bosses. But no, literally every enemy. There's a fucking Decabalaba plant that pops up out of the ground, literally blocking the door to the next area. All right, fine. I have to stand here and wait 5 minutes until you decide to show me your hitbox and slash you the right way. And it's just kind of like it. Even the small things, like I can't imagine like it would be any better if I was actually using motion controls and had to like point in all the menus. All the menus are like hold and move the stick and release, and I'm like, oh my god, everything takes so long. And I feel like it was just we wanted to design a Zelda game deliberately with motion controls, right?
Right.
Like, I don't feel like they're stalling for time. The plot already stalls for time. Like I said, I've already been told I basically have to do this third loop again. Like, it's but the actual gameplay, like just switching through items is so tedious. You got to like hold buttons and then cancel buttons, and I'm like, oh god, no, I don't want to use the beetle right now. I want to use the bombs. No, put my bombs away. I want to use the slingshot. It's just not very intuitive, and I feel like it wouldn't be intuitive even if I was like pointing and clicking, you know? Also, everything is motion controls. There's a bug net. It's funny. It's cool. It's all motion controls, and as far as I can tell, like maybe if you had the Wii Motion Plus, or if I undocked my fucking Joy-Cons, I could actually rotate my wrist.
I have the power. Sorry.
That's pretty cool.
I've been... Like I said, I live on the fucking... When I play Terraria, I kind of live on the Terraria wiki. Because,
No, it's great. It's very helpful.
And so I was looking looking at some fishing stuff, and I was like, hey, you can get some cool stuff in the Oasis farming. They actually have an Oasis fucking chest. I was like, what's in it? And you have, like, the fucking Thunder Staff. I'm like, Thunder! Apparently, fucking lightning in the desert is not that weird.
Mm-hmm. Alternatively, because, you know, Skyward Sword came out like 10 years ago, they might have stolen that. Who knows?
Who knows?
Terraria has many, many references, and I did just say that Skyward Sword is very Metroidvania for a Zelda game. Who knows? Maybe the Terraria people were influenced. But yeah, so the bug net, like, it's cool. You use motion controls. It's not cool, though, because as far as I can tell, you can't rotate your wrist. Maybe if I took out my Joy-Cons, but I don't want to have to use my fucking Joy-Cons to catch bugs, which are needed for crafting to upgrade items. To get all your cool... It's just... I feel like I don't like this depth philosophy when it comes to Legend of Zelda, basically. Like, I'm just like, alright, that's cool. I just feel like I'm getting cock-blocked from doing my Legend of Zelda things. I want to go to dungeons and do puzzles and fight bosses. I don't want to, you know, spend this time slugging out for mobs or, like, hunting for bugs so I can, like, upgrade my things as opposed to, like, you know, as a side quest for, what's her face? That's Agatha, I think, in Twilight Princess. That's, like, how you get the big wallet, is you collect, like, one of every bug or something.
Yeah. For what it sounds like, I don't think you're necessarily upset about the depth of it. I think it's just that you find it too tedious with the motion controls because it makes everything takes that much longer.
Yeah, I guess that's what it... Like, if everything was truly normal, like, if this was just Breath of the Wild control scheme, I think it would be better. It's just, yeah, like I said, everything is designed for motion controls, and, like, that's cool and all. I'm so glad that that's dead, right? Mm-hmm. Like, that we don't have to bother with, like... I mean, we do a little because Joy-Cons are also motion controls, but the fact that your Switch is meant to be docked... and there's even the Switch Lite, which literally you can't take the Joy-Cons off. Mm-hmm. It does a lot. And I'll be real, the motion control bits were the suckiest parts of Breath of the Wild. Fucking doing those turntable puzzles. Hated those. Those were so hard. Trying to hold your fucking Switch perfectly flat. Ugh. But yeah, I think you're right. Like, I don't necessarily mind the depth philosophy, I guess. It's just that to do the depth stuff, I have to be like, oh my god, if I want to catch bugs, I have to pull up my fucking bug net and then hope that I can wiggle the stick in the right way that I catch the bug.
Lightning!
So, yeah, I'm not, like, straight up ready to give up, but I think I may start splitting my time between playing Deathloop and Zelda, because there's so many games coming out in October. Fucking... Spoilers, we're going to talk about the Nintendo Direct later. The Castlevania Advance Collection dropped at that Direct. They were like, available on the eShop now, and I was like, what? Fuck. God damn it, Nintendo, I'm already dead. Isn't that new? I mean, it's not also on Switch, but the new Dragon Island card game by Yoko Taro, that's October 2, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not October 2nd, but it is October also.
It's like late October.
Yeah, there's fucking Far Cry. There's Guardians. We're gonna play it on stream at least, so I have time blocked out to play Kena at least. Thank God.
Yeah.
Which I did purchase today, and it is downloaded now. Yay. But like, damn, it's rough. I need to start working on my backlog a little more aggressively. And like I said, it's hard to be aggressive with Skyward Sword. Skyward Sword doesn't really want you to be aggressive. It feels like it wants you to kind of take your time.
No, piranhas. Okay, I'm safe.
Yeah, you don't fuck with the jungle. The jungle fuck with you.
There's a lot of piranhas.
And honestly, also like I said, I think Breath of the Wild is like taking some of these ideas, because it was a lot of the same directors and team, taking some of these ideas for like the interesting things they did with some of the design spaces and stuff, and doing a little bit better. Now, if only Breath of the Wild 2 could have like some of the dungeon designs that Skyward Sword has, because that at least like I said, a lot of these like dungeon aesthetics and even some of their like structures have been really interesting. Like there is the Ancient Cistern, which was like a Buddhist temple, complete with like a weird zombie hell zone at the bottom.
We don't know, but like it does look like Breath of the Wild 2 might be borrowing some fucking sky elements. Who knows? It might be Return to the Sky or something.
That could be interesting. I do know that is one of the things, is that some of the bits of the Sky Realm come down, and then in Twilight Princess, there's like the ancient Sky Temple is kind of left up there. And I do believe, I've watched a fair number of Zelda lore videos. I do believe that some of the things you can see and access in Breath of the Wild are meant to be like direct parallels to structures and concepts in Skyward Sword. Like I think the like symbology on that one giant, what they call it, promenade area, like the big chunk of the ground where it's split open and you just see these structures kind of sticking out of the rock. I think that's supposed to be like parts of that architecture resemble Skyloft. And there's literally the giant goddess statue is like a place you can visit in Breath of the Wild, in like the end of the camp thing. We'll see what they do. I'm very eager for that sequel. I also, because they keep announcing DLC fighters, I remember I need to, jungle bats suck. Bats in general, but jungle bats and ice bats I think are the suckiest. But in general, I also need to go back, and I never finished Age of Calamity either. I need to buckle up and do that too, because they keep releasing characters. They announced, what is it, Robbie and Purah as a duo character at the Direct. But yeah, that's my video game update. That took about 15 minutes. So which one of our two big topics do you think we should handle first?
Well, we already talked about it, so I think we should go immediately with the Nintendo Direct.
All right. So chronologically, this happened after the other thing.
Yes.
But it was a big deal. I think Twitter is still exploding.
Yeah.
No. Twitter's exploding right now because Netflix has an event. They had a trailer for Cowboy Bebop and Stranger Things Season 4. I haven't watched either of those yet. But that seems to be what Twitter's blowing up. But Twitter was blowing up for a lot about the Nintendo Direct for a lot of reasons.
You say a lot of reasons. You say a lot of reasons, but I can only think of two that constantly crossed my fucking dash.
I mean, there were two big ones, I think, but there were a few that kind of like percolated. That's the one we did. Oh, it's hosted by GameStop. Where's the Nintendo? There it is. I will now mute the stream and then have it blitz through it. So, let's see. They did the thing. Some Monster Hunter. They're doing that Super Mario Party thing. Then there was the trailer for... what? Isle of Adventure.
What?
I'm blitzing through chronological order. Voice of the Cards, the Isle Dragon Roars. That's right. God damn it, Yoko Taro.
I'm about to say, I was like, that doesn't sound right.
It's very complicated. Card Dragon card game. That's multi-platform though. PlayStation posted a trailer about it like yesterday, so I'll probably get it on the sweet PS5 so my cards can be super ultra mega HD. But that was the first I think I saw of that game directly.
Yeah.
That's good. Elysium Season Pass for Calamity. I'm just scrolling through the news. There's gonna be Chocobo Kart Racer. I feel like not a lot of people are super excited about that. Chocobo GP is what it's actually called, Grand Prix. Well, I think the first thing that I mean, it's not actually news, so it kind of died down. But the first thing I think that was people were probably thinking about was they announced their announcement for the final DLC character for Smash Ultimate. They did. We're gonna like, no, we're not gonna do it now. But the final Mr. Sakurai Presents will be early in October. We'll see you there.
And people are just kind of like, what?
A big power move, a big Nintendo power move. Then they showed the trailer for the new Kirby game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a big Kirby guy, but the game at least looks neat.
Looks like we've gone full 3D.
Yep, we're full 3D. I heard some people say that this would be like basically the Kirby Mario Odyssey equivalent, which I kind of agree with.
Yeah.
But I'm not a big expert on the Kirby games, so I don't know. But it looks cute, looks good.
Oh shit! Stuff. Finally, Goblin Army. Wait, which way's the east? It's the opposite direction.
Animal Crossing update. People are still playing Animal Crossing. People are still playing Mario Golf. There's some weird Mii's Disney Parks game on the Switch, which I'm just like, this is not cute. Oh yeah, there was another weird one. I was just reminded because I saw it. So it's not the remake, but there's a remaster of KOTOR coming out to the Switch that's still the original version.
I don't get it. I honestly do not get it.
Well, clearly, it's because it's by the same company. Asper was like, okay, we can't put the fucking remake on the Switch. It's not powerful enough. We'll get a real. They can run the piece of shit version from 2003. I like spoilers for the big finish was Bayonetta 3. I've already heard some people be like, "Oh, Bayonetta 3, you can feel the frame rate's gonna chug," and I'm like, "Yeah, it will." Bayonetta. I think the frame rate could get pretty intense on the original Bayonetta on the PS3, which was basically a supercomputer. Like, the game was very intense at times. Well, we'll probably talk more about that when we see about that. But let me try to see. Dying Light. Oh, that's right. Good news for me, but also bad news. Hey, Triangle Strategy is going to still be called Triangle Strategy. It's exactly like Octopath. They did get some interesting and useful feedback, apparently, from the beta about, like, quality of life.
Oh, yeah.
Cleanliness of the graphics and stuff. And the game will be releasing in, was it March? Yeah, March 4th, 2022. So, once again, spring is fucking loaded. Metroid Dread trailer. Also not a super big Metroid guy, but, it's cool they're getting more Metroid. Dread seems like and it seems like they're really going full bore on the marketing. Now, this didn't pop on Twitter, but I think this was our first, like, really big mind blower. Was they talked about the Nintendo online subscription service, right?
Yeah.
So they talked about how they're bringing, I think they already have NES and SNES games on there on certain membership packages. They're going to bring 3D games now. N64 stuff is coming. A lot of classic titles, Mario Tennis, Mario Kart, Star Fox 64, shit like that. And then they did the Nintendo One More thing.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking Sega Genesis games.
Yeah, well, like, honestly, some people might sing it, but it makes fucking sense, honestly.
Oh, I mean, it makes sense because that was the generation time, and, like, the games are, like, like Sonic, which is now on Nintendo consoles anyway, and stuff like that.
Mm.
It's so funny to think about, like, back then, right?
Yeah.
Like, N64 versus, like, Genesis and stuff. And Dreamcast, right? And be like, damn. Like, those were heated years of, Sega does what Nintendo don't kind of shit, right?
Mm.
And here we are in the year 2021, where at the Nintendo Direct, Nintendo is happy to announce they're bringing Sega titles, old school Sega titles, to their online service.
Oh no, the Dryad! But no, like,
Sonic and things.
Like, I'm excited for it. Like, fuck, I haven't had I used to have a Sega. It got stolen, but I used to have one.
And they are offering Switch compatible retro controllers.
Oh yeah.
You can buy a fucking old school N64. The sticks are probably still awful.
Yeah, I know. I think that's what a lot of people are saying. Do you think they're actually gonna fix the fucking joysticks? And I was like, nah, man, that's a feature.
God, no, that's a feature. Yeah. that you're supposed to need 3 hands to wield that thing. So this was interesting for us, but I don't think it's a big deal because I'm not going to pick it up on the Switch. But if you haven't already, they're doing Shadowrun Trilogy, all three of the Shadowrun computer RPGs, the turn-based ones, which are pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
I think the only one I haven't played is Hong Kong, but I own all three of them.
I think I own all three of them as well, but they're all separate stories, so you don't necessarily get to take your character around with you, so I was like, eh.
Yeah, you have to recreate your character for different stuff. But I played Dragonfallen and the OG, and I played the OG all the way to completion. But it's cool. They're offering you a trilogy. You can get them all on your Switch. That's neat. The next thing was the Castlevania Advanced collection, apparently with some pretty sophisticated emulation features. Like straight up, you can use save states. You can remap all the controls and shit. You can switch between what localization version you're using. So that at least seems pretty interesting. I am definitely gonna have to pick that up now. Eventually, when I have time. There was another interesting one, ActRaiser Renaissance.
Mm-hmm.
So a remaster of the original. I think it's all the same plot and mechanics and stuff. It's just everything's all HDified now. I never played the original game myself, but looks neat.
I played it a bit. It was a product of its time. I'm kind of curious to see how it's gonna turn out with all the new updated graphics and systems and whatnot. But it's something I'll probably like to give a try at some point.
Yep. And then Toby Fox showed up for 5 minutes to let you know Deltarune Chapter 2 is on the Switch.
Yep.
Chapter 1 and 2, actually. Yeah, you can get Chapter 2 as a free update. Then they did a sizzle reel, which was kind of interesting because they had some serious game, SMT was in there and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Just, but sizzle reel. Rune Factory 5, didn't have a full trailer.
Showed off,
but it was
in there.
Reel. And then this is where the big nuke happened. Right after that sizzle reel, fucking Shigeru Miyamoto crashes the stream. He just pops in, and he's like, "Sup, nerds? Hey, I've been working with Illumination, who you may remember from such works as Despicable Me." And I'm like, "Is that all they've done? No, that's not good." I'm here to talk to you about motherfucking Mario movie. I mean, he didn't say it like that because he's way too old and polite for that, but that's what it felt like.
Oh, yeah.
So first they announced a time frame. They're not ready to show us any of it yet, but they got a time frame, holiday 22. Specifically releasing December 21st, 2022 in North America. And then this guy, Shigeru Miyamoto himself, comes on to tell you who the cast is. Holy shit, guys. The English cast for this game. It starts with Chris Pratt as Mario.
Yeah, that's...
And it just goes from there. What the fuck? Oh, God. There was one guy who apparently called this shot in a tweet, by the way, which I've seen circulated. Some guy was like, watch, they're going to cast Chris Pratt for the... And, no offense to Chris Pratt. He has range. He was the... this casting, honestly, gives me big Lego movie vibes. Literally, several of these actors were in a Lego movie. And they did good there.
Yeah, I know.
Charlie Day is Luigi.
I think that this movie is going to end up be more of a comedy. And I think that's...
I'm sure... I can't imagine Nintendo worked with... Well, first of all, these are the guys who bring you shit like Despicable Me and Minions, right?
Yeah.
I can't imagine Nintendo was like, we're going to make a serious, comprehensive movie about Mario. No. They're going to make a funny, happy movie that hopefully fans and, children and new audiences can watch.
Well, you say that, but people immediately have gotten mad and upset. As this person has already said, it's like, oh, they could have brought in Danny DeVito, and it's just like, why? It's like, why does Danny DeVito need to be part of a Mario movie? Explain this to me.
I think it's just because he's a human meme.
Yeah.
That said, it's also funny because Charlie Day was actually selected, and one of the things he's famous for is for spending so many seasons on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which also has Danny DeVito in it.
Yeah.
So, It may also be because Danny DeVito is actually of Italian descent, and there's a lot of people asking like, "Yo, is Chris Pratt gonna do a horrible Italian accent the whole time?" And I'm like, I don't know. I genuinely do not know.
I'm kind of curious though. I kind
of hope he does, because if Mario just talks like a dude, that's gonna be weird. Like, that's gonna be way weirder than it being Chris Pratt. Is if Mario doesn't sound like he's either from New York or it's me, Mario. I'm Italian. So yeah, I don't know. I suspect they may go like the OG, the old school live action movie, and they may go with kind of like the Brooklyn kind of, New Yorker plumbers.
Well, we say that, but we don't actually know what the fuck they got planned for the.
It's true. We don't know what the setup is. Anna Taylor-Joy is Princess Peach. I recognize her name, but not any of her roles.
No, I don't.
The extra credits though are nuts. Jack Black is Bowser.
I don't
hate it.
I don't hate it. No, I don't. But I also don't understand. I'm like, what kind of?
Yeah, I don't know. What was the Hollywood casting process like? I know Jack Black does voice acting.
Oh yeah, but Jack Black's very iconic. This is like one of those reasons why I can be like, if Jack Black's Bowser, he can only Jack Black.
Yeah.
Like,
Keegan-Michael Key is Toad. I hope to God he doesn't try and do like a Toad voice Toad.
No, just be no, just be yourself, man.
That to me at least is what that casting screams, is like, okay, we're gonna get a funny guy to play Toad. Toad's probably gonna be comic relief. We're not gonna do the dumb voice thing we do in the games. That would, if Toad actually spoke words for like 2 hours, he would die, and we would be dead.
It's like, stop that. Your voice would be dead too, Michael Keegan.
Yeah. Also, Jesus Christ, I don't know how they make those sounds. I think the other fucking mic drop zinger though was after you think the core four, right?
Right.
5 actually, because Luigi's in there is 2. Then they're like, okay, so this won't be a Donkey Kong film, but there will be Donkey Kong in it, and it's Seth Rogen. Seth Rogen has also done some voice roles. He did some interesting work in Monsters vs. Aliens, for instance. But like, he sounds like Seth Rogen, and like already I've heard the Donkey Kong weed joke. It's just
No, there's been plenty of jokes. About this. I think my favorite one is someone like immediately drew a picture of fucking Mario doing the fucking pose from Jurassic World, holding back a bunch of Yoshis. I think that was like, and
yeah. I mean, how could you not? How could you not do that?
Fucking
you cast Chris Pratt as Mario.
I've seen so many people just put like Bowser Castle or other such versions over the fucking scene of Jack Black on that late night show, where he's playing the fucking whatever that instrument is. I don't even know what it is, but
I believe it was retweeted by Scott Ferrix of Team 4-Star, also a animation of Bowser singing the "Gonna Fuck You Gently" song, which is a parody song Jack Black has sung.
Oh yeah, Tenacious D is a great band. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah. There will be many Bowser Tenacious D jokes in the future, I'm sure.
Tenacious B.
There it is. There's a joke. They did at least say that Charles Martinet, the actual voice actor for Mario, will have a cameo at some point. They've got a role for him. He'll be credited. That's good. Like that, and that's always the weird thing about these like big name video game adaptation-y type, or any kind of adaptation stuff. Like, it's always so weird to see these screen actors transitioning to some of this stuff. And I will say, at least some of these guys have, like I said, VA chops. Chris Pratt has starred in a couple of animated movies. Other people have done roles where they've had to do the thing. I know Red from OSP went on like a whole ramble about how like different actors from different kinds of mediums have different quality. Like voice actors have to really, really sell their performances because you don't get to see all of their performance, right? You only hear the voice.
Yeah.
This is why a lot of like in anime, a lot of characters are overacted, arguably. And in Japanese, the VAs usually really, really sell the melody. And plenty of English voice actors as well, but it's part of the medium, right? Whereas like on screen, you have your whole performance. And And sometimes in video games and stuff, there's, there's motion capture elements, and this sometimes bleeds over to motion capture. I've heard that David Hayter, for instance, was really bummed out about Snake being recast as Keith Sutherland for 5, even though there is kind of a reason for that, where you would not understand that. You would immediately know the twist of the game if they used David Hayter, which is kind of unfortunate. But also, like, not to be like mean to Kojima or anything, because apparently making that game was a huge pain in the ass. But also, I mean, it's Hideo Kojima. Of course, he would want to work with their Sutherland. Now it's the reverse. Norman Reedus learned about how cool Hideo Kojima was, and was like, "Shit, I wanted that game." Death Stranding director's cut, by the way, another mark in my backlog.
The Bound Goblin's nearby. Oh, there he is. Perfect.
But yeah, it's so weird. They've got some other stuff, like we know apparently Cranky Kong is going to be in it. Voice actor Fred Armisen. Kevin Michael Richardson is going to be Kamek. I don't even know who this character is. Sebastian Maniscalco as Spike. And it's got like a really old 8-bit style sprite. I'm like, what the fuck? Was that like a guy from like the actual Donkey Kong game or something? I don't even remember this dude.
Spike, isn't that one of the fucking one of the Koopas?
It doesn't look like a Koopa sprite.
I don't fucking know.
Like, I know Spike is the like enemy, but that's not what he looks like. Hold on.
Oh wait, no, Spike.
Foreman Spike, Demolition Site in Wrecking Crew. Ah, wow. Okay, going way back. Wrecking Crew for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Yes. So I do feel like with the inclusion of Donkey Kong and stuff is like it seems like we're drawing on the really, really retro material, which is probably the smart move because that's the material that has the least amount of structure.
Yeah.
So, I think we both said this. I don't know if this movie's going to be bad or going to be good. This isn't inherently that. But now I want to fucking see this movie because I want to see what the fuck they're going to do, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's a thing now. It is a thing, as we like to say, with a capital T. And, yeah, I don't know. It's just, man. Yeah, if it was a Mario Party movie, that would be even better. But I suspect, no, it will probably be a semi-straight Mario movie in the sense that, like, Bowser is probably going to kidnap the princess. Now, God knows, it could be a really meta Mario movie. Like, it could be like, oh, this is the 50th time Bowser has done this, and like you can just imagine Chris Pratt as Mario, like taking his hat off and being like, Bowser, come on, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this now? Come on, be cool. And he's like, but I am cool. I'm Jack Black. We straight up don't know. We have the only thing we know about this movie is when it's coming out and who is the cast. We literally didn't have visuals. There was no trailer. They were like, we're not even ready to show you what Mario looks like in this movie. And I'm like, I don't know what's happening. But I wanna know. I wanna see. Cause damn. But yeah, that one has been blowing up the internet off and on for the rest of the week, basically. Yeah, Lucky. Any further Mario movie thoughts yourself?
No, again, I just give a lot of side eye to the people who are already screaming about how bad this movie's gonna be just because they saw the cast choices, and I'm just like, guys, please, just let it come out, or wait till a trailer at least.
Yeah. We literally know nothing. I mean, some people were always going to write this off because, well, part of it is because just most video game movies forever have left bad taste in their mouth. But like Sonic came out, that was okay.
Yeah, no, Detective Pikachu came out, and that was okay.
I mean, the thing about Detective Pikachu is I don't think it had a lot to do with the actual like gaminess of it, but it was a video game franchise movie.
Yeah.
And Nintendo, Mario can be the same way, and this at least is all animation. It is by an animation studio, so you know that they're not going to try and shoehorn any live action into it. Thank God. So like that, I think there's a possibility that it will not be awful. It will probably not be like amazingly good, but I don't think that's what they're trying to do. They're just trying to be like, hey, we're Mario. We're one of the largest franchises ever. We can get fucking Chris Pratt in our movie. Come at me, bro. So we'll see, in a little over a year, I guess. Hopefully we'll get some trailers. I did immediately see some people, like, I saw some funny tweets where people were like, Just imagine this Mario movie is going to come out, and some people are going to be like talking about the old Bob Hoskins movie is going to be. They're going to say it was good in comparison, and I'm like, yeah, some people will say that, and those people will be wrong. On production value alone, I think even if this is a soulless corporate hack job, this movie will look and sound better than that one. And also probably make more sense. Speaking of shit that doesn't make sense, though, immediately after Shigeru Miyamoto mic drops, right?
Right.
Splatoon 3. And I'm sure I would understand this more if I had played a Splatoon game and knew anything about the Splatoon lore, quote unquote. But I don't. So this is just weird and trippy. Like, it starts out like a normal trailer, and then it gets, like, fucking existential into the Spider-Verse shit, like, Inception stuff, and I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
We don't know.
There's some weird, like, furry tentacles. I think the subtitle at the end is, like, Return of the Mammalians. So, like, they seem to be emphasizing that there will be more... First of all, more creativity in like environments and set pieces, but also like more lore and plot stuff. It seems in this game, It does look like there's more areas where you can freely walk around in, like besides just the city. More variety of environments. There's like they end with like an Arctic shot, but there's also like deserts and urbanscapes and stuff. And then Nintendo has the goddamn gall to send out a guy in a lab coat with sunglasses who claims to be a squid researcher. To tell you about the game. No, it's trippy. Like, again, I don't know much about Splatoon, but I mean the trailer's weird. And then they do the big finish. So, you got a little debated by this trailer.
I did. I wasn't the only one. I will say that.
No, actually, and I was curious about this. I heard some people say that so there's a certain animal mascot that shows up in the midpoint of the trailer, which is related to Astral Chain. I've heard some people say it's not quite the same. Lucky, as a person who's actually played Astral Chain, is it or is it not the actual?
Hang on. Let me just.
Because basically, you have this urban scape. It's being attacked by weird demony angel things. These seem a little more Asian in design. They've got like scrolling kanji and veils and shit.
Hang on, okay. Let me just post this image, and you can judge for yourself. This is the one from Astral Chain. I posted it in the mod chat,
and I have pulled up my screen grab of the. I'm literally comparing between two monitors. Yeah, no, it's the same dog.
Yeah, I know. So
I mean, it's not literally exactly the same, but one of those is an in-game model that I presume moves, and the other is a static model in a pre-rendered trailer. But no, it's the same dog. Yeah.
Yeah, it might not be a 1-to-1, but when you see it quickly, that's what your first thought's gonna be.
I mean, it's definitely the same character.
Yeah.
Like, he's wearing the same costume. Like, in the trailer, the tongue is in a slightly different position. And obviously, because like I said, it's a static statue. Its hand is molded into the finger guns.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's the Astral Chain dog, and then they do the fake out because fucking Bayonetta jumps out. And she is looking fine. She's got a new hairdo. She's got some new guns. They're purple. It's been so long since I played Bayonetta. People have said that her voice actress is different, and I'm like, I can't tell. You know how long it's been since I played Bayonetta? I really need to play Bayonetta 2 sometime. That's on Switch, right?
I'm not sure.
I think they did. They did a thing where they made it so you can get Bayonetta 2 on Switch. I hope they did, because I suspect that I'm not going to understand what the fuck is happening in a third Bayonetta game without a second Bayonetta game. I may not understand anyway, because Bayonetta has always been a little bit weird, but they do at least show off, you know, the moves, the gameplay, like they cut from the pre-rendered into straight up the gameplay. Verse 7, all the classic things. There's no Fly Me to the Moon cover, but the music's still in the same tone. Bayonetta still got a groove on. And then they kind of showcase that they've got a new system where so before for like high level combo attacks as Bayonetta, you would, you know, summon particular big boy demons as like finishing blows or certain attacks for bosses. Now it seems like you can straight up summon these guys to help you and like give yourself, basically support fighter pets that kind of do stuff directly in the environment. So there's a lot more like environmental interaction and commands and stuff while you also do your normal Bayonetta. Looks sick. I love Bayonetta. That game is great. Yeah, okay, so Bayonetta 2 is on Switch. I gotta check that out because the OG Bayonetta is one of the few games I went balls to the wall on. I played even the very highest difficulty, So yeah, no. It's rad. I need to check out Bayonetta 2, and the sequel, the third one, comes out in the 2022. And then there's a weird bit at the end with a katana and a guy, and he cuts the date in half, but the date doesn't change. Like, you felt like they were going to be like, no, it's actually dropping now. But no, they didn't do that. It was just like a weird thing at the end of the trailer. If it was an explicit reference, I missed it. But yeah, no, the trailer was sick. That was the big drop. Yeah, a lot of people are suggesting that this Bayonetta is actually Cereza, which is still Bayonetta, but was her original self from before some time loop bullshit. Because, of course, Bayonetta had time loop bullshit. It's because she has the same hairstyle she had as a kid, basically. And I'm like, I don't know nothing about nobody, guys. It's Bayonetta. It could be literally anything. But yeah, that was their big finisher. I think it was a good one because everybody was clamoring every direct for more news on Bayonetta 3. They even brought that up in the presentation, right?
Yeah.
They were like, listen, we know we announced this game like 2 years ago. We're very happy to finally bring you some trailer footage. It'll be coming out next year. Thanks for your patience. And then like people have been going pretty crazy occasionally about just the people developing Bayonetta at Platinum are a treasure.
Listen, Hideki Kamiya is a madman. I fucking love him. I hope one day be blocked by him.
Let's see. Talking about, what was it? I retweeted a tweet from somebody. Every piece of footage from the Bayonetta dev diaries belong to the Smithsonian. It's a clip of like, I think it's Kamiya speaking. He's like, the most profound thing that came out of Shiomura's mouth was, Bayonetta's glasses are like her underwear, so don't take them off under any circumstance. When I heard him say that, I realized he knew Bayonetta even better than I did. I think it was Kamiya himself who went on the subject because obviously in the original Bayonetta game, very sexy. It's the hair, her clothes are also her hair, which is also her superpowers. So like, when you do the high level stuff, Bayonetta gets more naked. Ooh. I gotta be real. I never had any time to focus on any of that stuff. I was playing a fucking, action beat 'em up game with a lot of input presses.
Yeah. I appreciate the aesthetic, but I was too busy to be horny on a man, guys.
Yes. But she's a very tall, sexy lady, but he officially said, like, listen, I don't care if you draw porn of me, but remember, Bayonetta is not a bottom. Bayonetta tops. Like, I respect this man deeply.
Yeah.
He's like, I know you guys are gonna be horny, but don't fuck up this character. This is Bayonetta. And remember, never take her glasses. But yeah, so I'm very excited for that. I was glad to finally get that news. It was a good, proper big finish. This was a very good direct, I think.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if it was as much of a slam dunk as PlayStation's live event a couple of weeks ago, but Nintendo still had some big zingers in there. And at the very least, their like the fucking Mario thing was just like, well, they're gonna rule the airwaves for a couple of weeks on that shit. Literally, I just tabbed over and we're like, right now. It's like, Nintendo Direct announces upcoming projects, training with Mario and Chris Pratt. Yeah, just my Twitter just keeps spitting it out. It's nuts.
It is nuts.
But all right, well, we spent a good 50 minutes, hourish on that.
Nice.
No, more like 30, but we're about 50 minutes of game time.
All right, so before we get into your other big thing, can we think of anything in particular we want to do to fill up some time here?
I don't know. I mean, there's, as usual, you can probably have some tabletop talk about our ongoing game, but that makes sense to come after the other thing.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. Anything else? I'm thinking, no, not really. I haven't done a lot this week. I mean, I want to once again plug progression for everybody. We're starting a new season. We didn't do any like big rule changes. We're expecting more out of the ban list swap this coming week. But I do want to say that the first episode of the Zexal Generation, the first Xyz episode, is fucking sick. The duels are amazing. You should check it out if you haven't already. Please go back and watch it. Obviously, you know, shooting and editing all that stuff together usually takes me a little bit. That took a long time because I had a problem, the same problem I had Monday, actually, where my audio driver just got confused and died. I think I fixed it. I updated my drivers correctly, and I haven't had the problem since. But I was getting a weird thing where my computer would basically forget my audio jack existed. It would be like, or forget any of my audio outputs existed. It would just be like, speaker setup, unknown. Nothing else is connected. I'm like, what? Huh? But I haven't had that problem since I properly updated my drivers and my audio driver anyway. Get some other drivers I should update. Unfortunately, every single service that wants you to keep track of your driver updates wants to charge you money, and it's a real pain in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Windows should have a better built-in tool for this, but even that's just like, yeah, maybe you could update some drivers. Where you want to update your drivers from? I'm like, I don't know. You should know. You know the drivers need updates. How do you know this if you don't know where to get the update? But anyway, downloaded it, refreshed, should be fixed, so that's good. That took up a chunk of change of time on Wednesday night.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't really done anything else. I mean, like, I could mention, you know, I do follow Netflix. I got around to watching the new season of the Netflix original series, Sex Education.
What is that about?
It's a you know, kind of a teen romantic comedy series. Though not necessarily for teens, because it's kind of explicit. Basically, the main character played by Asa Butterfield. You may remember him from such things. His mother, played by Gillian Anderson of all people, is a like relationships and sex therapist. So he knows a lot about like psychology and relationships and sexual health and stuff. But he's a dorky nerd who doesn't get laid. But basically, the show starts with him like starting a secret high school therapy ring for sex and relationships and stuff. Because it's set in England, even though it borrows a lot of like Americanisms for plots and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And shockingly, this British high school is British upper educational school, not good with their sex education and their relationships and stuff. So it just kind of starts as like an interpersonal drama about like sexuality, relationships, and just like ethics as well. There's a lot of ethical questions, and it's 3 seasons deep, so I'm invested in all the character relationships. It's all right. I think it's one of those kind of in a good way progressive series where there's a lot of characters with a lot of different like sexualities, body types, opinions, and stuff.
Yeah.
A very diverse casting of real actors because it's live action, and just like takes a very like healthy, honest approach to everything of just like, yeah, people are people. Stuff's cool.
People
talk about stuff. Communication is important.
I forgot my fishing rod again.
Forgot your fishing rod to go fish in the murder trunk.
Yes. All right. Well, I guess I'm just gonna keep going forward then. Fuck. I'm gonna go drown myself in the ocean.
Since I was thinking about animated anthologies for some reason, I was thinking about catching some Love, Death, and Robots, but Netflix unfortunately did that thing where it like the volumes are like reversed. It's like Volume 2 is listed at the top of Volume 1, so I'm like I had to fucking scroll down. There's a lot of shorts. There's a lot more shorts in those 2 season series than the others, and I didn't have to get into any. It was like late at night, and I'm like, fuck, there's a lot of shit here. So soon, I'm sure, but not yet. Lucky, watching anything interesting other than the thing we're about to talk about this week?
No, I had a pretty boring week this week. God, like, I'm trying to think here. No, Lucky's still waiting on his Final Fantasy 14 account to be unbanned, so I haven't been able to do anything on that account.
We're working. We're waiting.
We're working. Yep. Oh, what was the Tuesday? I did nothing. Well, no, Tuesday I got a book, so I read that. One of my light novels came in. Then I order more light novels because that's what I do. I read book. I order more books to read.
Yeah. To work on my reading.
Other than that, was it? Yeah, no.
Mine will be wrapped bloodstained.
Yep. Yeah, that's what
I think because we had plenty of time during credits and stuff for the stream. I think we both talked about our thoughts overall of the game in the stream. So if you wanna, you should go and catch that anyway. Obviously, like I said, one because there's more basically what's up style content in it, but also just in general wrapped up our series. We already talked about this, so for at least a couple of weeks before the Alan Wake remaster comes out, we're gonna do Kena Bridge of Spirits on Mondays. I'm gonna play this time for those few sessions. I've downloaded it digitally, so we're ready to go. I'm pretty excited. This game looks pretty cool. A lot of people have been talking about how good it looks in the it's got like photo mode and stuff. I've heard a lot of people deliberately comparing it to, like, I think the best way I've heard about how the game style is it's the best PS2 game of the year in a good way. Like, it is a deliberate design throwback to platformers action adventure platformers you probably played on the PS2, like the OG Jak and Daxter, Tak and the Power of Juju, probably some elements, some, I haven't heard people directly call out like Ratchet and Clank or Spyro, but probably definitely in that vein as well, So, I mean, I've heard that sometimes it has the gameplay foibles like those too. Like, sometimes the platforming's a little imprecise, you can bang your shins on things, so you may get to hear Omega yell and scream about falling in holes. But I've also heard that, like, the gameplay for, like, boss fights and stuff can get pretty deep and involved, and it sounds fun. And everybody's been saying it's super pretty. This is that studio's first ever full game release, so good for them. Excited to try it out and show it to y'all. You can pick it up digital now, and they're going to have a limited physical release in
November, I believe. I'm gonna try and get the physical.
Yep. All right. But well, we're at about an hour, so I think it's perfectly fine to move into our other big one.
Yep.
The thumbnail story, which I was going to make a joke earlier, but I decided to skip it. But I was going to say, here's the thumbnail I prepared earlier, because I think I made this in the middle of the week immediately after we'd both watched Visions. So, yeah, the big one this week for us, I think, possibly even bigger than the Nintendo one, and we will probably talk more about it. Star Wars Visions came out. All of it on Disney Plus all at once. Good on them. And there are 9 shorts. So, well, first of all, for everybody, if you haven't watched these, probably some sort of spoilers level of spoilers. I don't know how hard it is to... I mean, a couple of the shorts actually have twists in them.
Yeah.
Some of them don't really. So, like, as much as you can be spoilered for 15 to 20-minute anime shorts, spoiler warning.
Yes.
So... how do you want to break this down?
Well, let's go. Let's go. I say we go in the order of
the episode order, like how you view them. Okay, the watch order. That seems fair. Because we both have kind of our little rankings. And I'll say this. So the first one is the duel, which is a good point to start. So when I don't know why, but when I first watched the duel, I immediately felt compelled. I was like, okay, these are all going to be like really interesting, and I immediately feel like I need to start collecting my thoughts and put these in the order of which I like them best, like right away. I don't know why, because I'm usually really bad at favorites, but I was like, not like as like a value judgment, because I want to preface this. No matter what I say that may be critical of some of the ones that are technically lower down on my list, I loved all of these. All of these are great. They are not all created equal, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And the people out there, spoiler for number 3, you will find that neither Lucky or I ranked the twins as number 1. Even though you would think from how much we talk about how much we love Trigger that would be at the top. No. We'll get into that later, pretty soon, because it's the third one. I think it was a good one. Because I'll say this, I think the duel and the twins like formed my rock, right? Like they formed the centerpiece of like my opinions on these short. But I like all of them, but we're gonna talk about them, and I just felt compelled to like put my thoughts down. So first up was The Duel by I should look this up. I'll look it up because Lucky's busy playing Terraria.
Yes, I am.
I think list because we want to check all the studios. And shout out to Star Wars Visions for having basically no opening, just the title with a lightsaber sound, and then it says X Studio Presents. So The Duel was by Kamikaze Doga, who are responsible for the anime adaptation of some things. Yeah. What is it, big one? Yeah. Oh, they do all the openings and endings for JoJo's. I was like, hold on, I need to qualify for that. Because I know David Production does the main anime. But yeah, they do all the JoJo OPs and EDs, which is, stunning and phenomenal and cinematic. So, yeah, The Duel is pretty cool and good looking.
Well, I think The Duel is great, especially as the first one, because it literally brings Star Wars full circle.
Yes. Or start Star Wars full circle. Listen, so if you're a continuity head, you're gonna die. The shorts are not canon. They don't make any sense in continuity. Like allegedly, there's they wrote like a tie-in like light novel or something or short story to this. This is supposed to be like in the super ancient mega past, but they use props that are they use like First Order Stormtrooper armor bits as props. So like, what is supposed to be happening and what is actually happening doesn't make any goddamn sense. Doesn't matter. Anime. And thematically, yeah, it brings it full circle, I think.
Well, no, because The Duel immediately brings back Kurosawa's style. You have the black and white, you have the film grain, the Duel is just thrown at the beginning on a big white in basic and big white text just splashed on there.
And the action scenes, especially the action climax, very reminiscent of actual, like, have you ever actually watched Kurosawa film with like a duel? Yeah, it's very much one strike, the guy has a blood hose hidden in his kimono, blood goes everywhere, it's over. This isn't as bloody as that, Disney, you know what I mean? Like, the action's very fast. And I think overall, in my mind, I'm like, my rankings are formed, and I can say this. The Duel ended up being number 6 for me. Strong middle.
Actually, hang on. I know, when you wrote yours down, I was like, oh, I should do the same thing. Hang on. So
Yeah, I'm looking at yours too, but you can look it up as well. So in my mind, though, how I rank these things were based on 3 points, I think, primarily. Mm-hmm. Number 1 is, like, the actual, like, aesthetics and the cinematography. Star Wars as a series has always been famously cinematic, famously Kino cinema.
Yeah.
You remember many, many great, memorable shots. You know, the binary sunset, all that stuff. Some of the sweeping Death Star shots, etc. Like, the original Star Wars has breathtaking pieces of cinematography. As much as people criticize like the old school CG, there are some great visual pieces in the prequel trilogy as well. Some very iconic shots. And hell, even if you criticize the sequel trilogy, which I have done, it also still has some brilliant cinematic moments, some really memorable and well shot pieces. Some stuff is not super well shot, but you know, it's got some great scenes. Like the hyperspace ram, you know, took my breath away, right?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
There's iconic cinematography in all of them. I think there's a lot of great scene shot composition in Rise of Skywalker, even though that movie is kind of a mess. So, like, how they actually like shot the scenes and animated everything, that's a big deal. Then there's the actual like plot. Like, are they doing something interesting with Star Wars, or are we like staying to Star Wars themes? You know, what are we actually doing? And they're anime shorts. Like I said, they're 15 to 20 minutes usually. Mm-hmm. So, it's not really like a deep cut, but like I do think that some of them have better composited plots than others.
Oh yeah.
And then there's just, I think, generally like characterization, like acting, that kind of stuff. Like, do I like these people in these settings and find them interesting? Yeah. And the shorts that have the most dynamic of this stuff is the ones that rise to the top. The Duel is very much just a Kurosawa film, but with Star Wars bits, which, like you said, brings it full circle. It is one of the major influences for A New Hope was Hidden Fortress, straight up.
So I think one of the reasons I like the Duel is I think it's like it was probably one of the greatest ones. I think a good one to open with.
Yes. Like I said, it became my rock in this. Everything that came after is compared to it, which I think is good because it's very solid. It's like, I wouldn't say it was super adventurous. Star Wars has done the Six Samurai, bandits attacking a village thing several times already. So it's not really breaking super new ground. The really interesting thing, I think, was, well, cinematography. They did a great thing with, like, everything was in black and white, and sometimes I think whatever, like, rotoscoping effect they did was a little distracting.
Yeah, you could definitely feel some sort of weird tearing or blurring in some of the scenes.
Yeah,
it was just like, ugh.
It was a little intense sometimes, and I was like, ooh, that was a little distracting. But they did a great thing where the only sources of color was energy. So it was like blaster shots were in color and lightsabers were in color. So, like, that was very striking visual.
Some Schindler's List shit right there.
And I think that plays into what is kind of the twist of this, which is when the Ronin draws his lightsaber katana from his sheath. Turns out is also a lightsaber. That was a twist I didn't see coming. It's red, and you're like, whoa, holy shit, he's got a red saber. Is he a bad guy? Because, these bandits who love their aesthetic, by the way, like I said, they're wearing, scavenged stormtrooper gear, right?
Right. And
using a variety of props. Like, that was a good look for them. And their boss lady is a scary, dark Jedi lady. She's got fucking lightsaber umbrella, but it's not really a lightsaber umbrella.
Yeah, this is something I appreciate, that it was actually just an attachment that she was using that she just took off.
It was like an extender that, like, split her beam so that she could do some really sick shit. Like, block a bunch of shots, shave up that guy's gun, and then she just did the thing where she rammed it into him and then just unfolded it. Oh, damn. Hardcore. But then she just takes it off for the actual fight. It's really cool. And even then, the Ronin does the barehanded blade block, but with the Force, so it works. Like, chef's kiss. I love that, talking about the other way, not a Star Wars thing, but a very much samurai movie thing. I also loved when with the droid guy, he's like, "You will repair my droid by the time this pot boils,"
and then just puts the pot on the fire and walks out. And
the whistling of the kettle is just theme later comes back. But yeah, he's so nonchalant, and he just boldly strides into the village and gives zero fucks.
Well, yeah, but because at one point in this short, a village comes under attack, and the village tries to fight back.
Yes.
To poor results.
They have assembled ramshackle guards who all have great designs. I love them.
Yes. Like, the character designs in the Duel is amazing. It really is. But at one point, once Yeon the Ronin notices, he literally just walks down. I actually really love this shot. As chaos is erupting behind him, blaster fires is going on, people are going, "Ah!" in the background, he just walks. Like, completely unperturbed. I'm like, yes, no, this is good.
Yeah. He's doing that stoic samurai thing. And he gets into a duel with the other Dark Jedi, and they have a little back and forth. There's a lot of clever, subtle Force usage. Like, he hides under a waterfall, so the bandit lady, like, moves the log they were fighting on just a little bit to, like, oh, I see your light inside. But then she attacks, and it's just he put one of his lightsabers in a Buddhist statue, and then he just fucking teleports behind her, and you're like, damn. Like, cinematography is really good. And I think in both a good way and a bad way, it kind of leaves you with unresolved questions.
Unfortunately, I think this is a problem with a lot of the shorts, honestly.
Yeah. All the shorts are pretty open-ended. I suspect that was by design so that, like, if Disney or if those anime studios wanted to come back and pick them up as full properties, they could. But yeah, we don't know what this guy's deal is. He's not a bad guy, for sure. Right? Like, he has no reason to fight this dark lady other than that she's out here killing dudes with lightsabers. right? And literally we see he's collecting red kyber crystals. He's got them in his robe like a badass. But he leaves one with the kid who's now the village chief because their previous elder was sick or dead or something. It's a little unclear. And he's like, it wards off evil. Take this. And like the crystals have color too. And I'm, wow, that's really interesting. I also think, like I said, his lightsaber design is very interesting. Obviously, anime studios made this. Lightsabers are katanas. Who knew? It's almost like, you know, George Lucas was as influenced by the cinematography of kendo as he was by, like, fencing. But, like, this guy has his lightsaber in a sheath. Why? Oh, well, it's because the other bit of his sheath is a lightsaber handle that has its own blade in it. He pulls it out later. And he's got a wakizashi in his belt, too. I don't know if that was just a knife or if that's yet another lightsaber, right? Like, it makes sense. He's literally collecting sabers. But why is he collecting sabers? We don't know. You know, what's with these bandit guys? He killed the Sith lady and took her, you know, crystal. Is he like a Jedi who lost his master, so he's hunting down, you know, Sith? But then why does he have a bad lightsaber? Is he, you know, a dark Jedi, a Sith who went good? By the way, this is a recurring theme. Actually, we should say this now. We didn't bring this up before. Lucky, I assume you watched all of this in Japanese, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so did I. Again, no offense to the dub casting. They apparently had some very big names in it, because of course Disney did. This is usually what they do with like Studio Ghibli dubs. But I figured sticking to the Japanese, considering these were, you know, Japanese studios, would be better. But this is there. I was pleasantly surprised. Well, not. I don't know if I was necessarily surprised, but I was quite happy with how I felt like the Japanese language and the way the subtitles and the scripts were structured. They worked quite well with throwing out lines like Jedi, Sith, Force, you know, saying the classic lines, you have a bad feeling about this, the Force is with me, you know, and like, may the Force be with you. I don't remember how that line translates into Japanese, but like, it all flowed really well, and I was like, yeah, this is good.
Don't forget my fucking fishing rod! Ah!
No, don't forget the fishing rod. But yeah, so the duel was a good, strong start.
Yes.
Like I said, it formed the anchor. It gave me exactly what I wanted out of a Star Wars anime, but also could have given me a little bit more. And I say this because, quite frankly, there are later, about in the middle chunk, there are quite a few of these shorts that are much more plot and character driven, and like, arguably, I think rank way higher because of it, right?
Oh yeah.
Like there are stories that did a lot more with the little time they had. So,
and in the same way though, that one also leaves me hungry for more. Just give me a full season of this. Just give me 3 seasons.
Yeah, no. But the duel is the good way to start this off, I think, and kind of anchor you to like, okay, we're doing Star Wars anime. Here's what you expect immediately. It's just a Kurosawa film with lightsabers.
Yep.
You happy? And I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm happy. Okay, cool. Let's move on. Like, it doesn't overstay its welcome. It does the cinematography stuff. Like I said, love the aesthetics. Well, for the most part, like I said, the filtering and the rotoscoping did distract a couple of times, but the idea was cool. I like the concept they were going for with the interplay of black and white versus super bright colors. It was good. And like I said, it formed kind of my rock. It ended up in my middle zone. So, Lucky, do you have any further thoughts about the duel?
No. I think you got everything out.
All right. So the next one was Tatooine Rhapsody by Studio. Is it Colorido?
Colorido.
Yeah.
Actually, what did they do? They
apparently have done a series of web shorts based on Pokemon Sword and Shield. And that's all I got. I'm following the list on TV Tropes, and they literally don't have a link for them, so they must be pretty new.
I could have sworn they've done something.
Let me Google them real quick.
Yeah, I'm about to say, I could have swore I've heard of them before.
Let's see, what else you got? Okay, they've been around a few years. They still don't have a lot. A lot of work on Pokemon stuff, films. Oh, shit! They did the Burn the Witch animation. Okay, that's what I've heard of.
Okay, that's right. Because I could have swore I've heard of them from them somewhere. I was like,
because they haven't done a lot, but yeah, that is absolutely why I have heard of them. Damn. Hey, Shout out to you guys. Love that. But yeah, so Tatooine Rhapsody. And I think, I mean, I get why it's early. I think you're probably going to find, if you're following opinions out there, again, I like it. I like this short. I like what they do with the world building, especially. And some of the characters, like the other bandmates, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, there's the three-headed drummer guy.
Three body.
A lot of people like the, three body, like conjoined twins kind of a thing. There's the female droid guitarist, who has kind of this interesting clutched together look, and then there's a fucking punk rock hut. It's great.
I love it.
Like, so yeah. There's a lot of stuff to like, but also it was one of the shorter ones, and I feel like it wasn't, you know, it wasn't the deepest cut. Let's say it was all right. I liked it. I think it could have been a little bit more. They had a couple of really interesting action scenes, but it's not really an action short.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I think it was meant to be about the music. And if I got to be like 100% honest, me personally, the music didn't necessarily super resonate. It was just kind of okay. Like, I liked the message of the lyrics. The actual music was just like, all right, that's fine. It's not bad or anything.
For me personally, like, I put Tatooine Rhapsody as number 7 out of 9 on me. But I do think, I think it was good in the fact of it shows... What's the way I want to put this? It's kind of a showing of what happens when you lose one path but gain another. And the freedom of that.
Yeah.
You have the freedom to choose things and whatnot, because it starts off... We started off at Order 66. A Padawan's getting fucking chased. He falls. He crashes into a space van. And some guy's like, who the hell are you?
He finds a stoner punk rocker hut.
You know, we cut forward to the future. Kid's now part of a band. But one of his bandmates is found by a very small Boba Fett. Jesus. They really squished his design.
Yeah, they squished his design down a little. He's not any less intimidating though. This short is where that action shot of Boba Fett is from.
Yeah.
There's like a couple of action scenes in here that are really tight.
Oh, yeah.
It's just they're over so fast.
Yeah. Like, Boba Fett coming for you. But they fight, they try and get away, but they get caught, and they run to Tatooine because Jabba the Hutt is like, this hut can't fucking live. Either join my syndicate or die. He's like, no, I just want to play music, man. And the young Padawan turned musician goes, it's like, no, Jabba the Hutt, let us play a song. We're really good. They play a song, and instead of like, you know, fighting and shit, he's like, don't you want to sponsor us? We're so good. And Jabba the Hutt was all like, this is fine.
Yeah, the Hutt is literally like, I don't want to be in a criminal syndicate. I want to make rock music. And yeah.
But
so, good.
So I think like one of the things around here is you don't always necessarily need to rely on things like, you know, the Force or the powers. Sometimes you just need to play a really fucking good song, and it can.
Yeah,
move
he
people.
literally repurposes his lightsaber to be a microphone, and the guard is like, "Hey, what's that?" And he's like, "It's just a mic, bro."
Mm-hmm. So it's basically him. I think of a story of a Padawan realizing that just because he was something he could be something that different or be something that he wanted to be, and he can fight for that in its own way. So I think it has a pretty good message, but unfortunately, because it's so short and they try to get through like so many scenes so fast, it leaves a bit undeveloped in areas, I guess I want to say.
Yeah, it's one of the shorter shorts, and it's very fast-paced, and unfortunately, part of the short is dedicated to the musical number at the end, which, like I said, it's okay. It's pretty well animated, but the song is, you know, fairly generic, just, you know, playing some J-Rock. Boba Fett and Jabba the Hutt jam out to it, and then they kind of move on, and it's like, okay, I appreciate that you exist, right? Like, I don't think I mentioned this, but Tatooine Rhapsody is actually at the bottom of my list. I'll explain why later. Mostly it has to do with the ones I ranked higher being very interesting cinematographically, basically. Like, Tatooine Rhapsody has a couple of pretty sick action scenes, but otherwise it's mostly just kind of They animate some guys playing some instruments. It looks all right. Like, I think basically I almost feel like Tatooine Rhapsody wasn't as adventurous as it could have been. And that may have been the point, right? Because, like, our main character, Jay, like, used to be a Jedi Padawan, but he decides, nah, I'm going to be a rock star, basically. And, like, I'm going to save my friend that way because I'm in a band kind of a thing, like you said. And I think that's kind of important to, like, look at this and shake these things out. But also, it's not quite as ambitious as it could have been. And it's not quite as memorable. Could have used, you know, maybe a couple more minutes, write out some of the characters, have some extending on some of the scenes and stuff. And, yeah, Tatooine Rhapsody. It's a good one. So the third one. The big one. The Twins by Studio Trigger. One of Trigger's 2. So, yeah, I mean, this is the one. This is the one. This is the thing. This is the Trigger thing. It's in Trigger's art style, you know, where they use like their particular style of lines and animation action, their particular style of character designs, and I think also kind of like their like cinematography and action. Like everybody's kind of like a little fluid in motion.
Yeah.
Like compared to some of the action scenes in like Kill la Kill and Little Witch, you know, like the action shots in here can also be similarly gooey. So for me, the Twins was number 5. It's dead in the middle. It's my middle point. It's my rock in the center. And that's because, like I said, you may expect from me and Lucky, we really do like Studio Trigger. You know, love their work on Kill la Kill, Little Witch Academia. We stood by Darling in the Franxx when a lot of people didn't. For some reason. Still don't necessarily understand that, guys. I know, maybe it's because I'm not a mecha head. But, like, honestly, and you scooch it up one more than me. It's number 4 for you.
Yes.
I think ultimately what it was that it gave me exactly what I expected, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's Trigger, so it's fucking over the top. The action is crazy. It seems deliberately designed to confuse and perplex established Star Wars fans. The main characters fight in space. They don't wear helmets. At the end, the droid shows up. He's wearing a helmet for no goddamn reason, other than that Studio Trigger is like, ha ha. And I'm like, I don't care, but I understand that we're going for like aesthetics, but like other people will be bothered by that. Because it's not necessarily internally consistent, you know? There's a hangar shot where they have a mix of classic original trilogy fighters, both Rebel and Imperial, for seemingly no other reason than that the main protagonist, Car, can ride in an X-Wing because it's cool.
It is cool.
And, like, yeah... Also, by the way, if you didn't know, bit of trivia, the main characters' names are references to our original Star Wars Twins actors. Car is drawn from Carrie Fisher, and Am is Mark Hamill.
Oh.
So they did kind of an interesting kind of like alternate Luke and Leia play. And like I said, like just because this became my middle and it was what I expected does not mean that I don't fucking love this, okay? The shot of Carr sitting on top of his X-Wing over the binary sunset is my desktop background right now, okay? Like, I love this. This is great. You know, they do the fucking hyperspace split the ship scene again, and it's also still really sick. Shout out to, by the way, almost every shirt opens with the Starfield pan. Oh, it's great. They know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it also didn't feel original in some way. Like, that's the thing. Like, a lot of what Trigger does usually feels kind of like they're kind of going their own way. They're doing a lot of fun stuff and interesting. This one didn't really feel like it was breaking a lot of new ground. Like, it was what you'd expect out of anime Star Wars. It was super over the top, but they did the split the thing in half. The 2 Star Destroyers are another planet destroying laser. That's also not the first time that's been done. Am's like using her lightsabers like whips thing is also not that original either. It's like the first time I think it's been visually represented, and they did a really good job with it. But lightsabers being whips is old school continuity stuff, and was very recently reintroduced to the current canon. I think it's in some of the High Republic books, which I need to actually read sometime. Oh boy, it really stole me.
Oh yeah, no, that's why I'm heading back.
I know it was sandstorming, but I was like, oh man, it's pouring everywhere. Jeez.
Yeah, that's why I'm heading back.
You know, even the like, and part of this is just because, like I said, I'm a little bit of a continuity head. I'm not bothered by it as much as some people are. Like, there are some Star Wars fans who are like super deep into the lore and like, no, you must. Like, I don't give a shit. I think lore is cool and building continuity is important, but also I don't care that they're breathing in space. It's Star Wars. You can hear sounds in space. Nobody cares.
This guy's gonna stand on the nose of his X-wing and cut a fucking destroyer in half. I'm for it.
Yeah, but like that means I also am aware of things like the fact that like not even necessarily, and I suspect though that this scene was drawn from them seeing it, attacking a Star Destroyer with your lightsaber out of an X-wing. That was in the concept art for the original concept art for Force Awakens. By the way, the concept art for the sequel trilogy is like 10, maybe 100 times more sick than those movies actually turned out to be. It's pretty wild. The concept art was way more advanced, but like. And even the iconic shot, like where he cuts through the Star Destroyer, is just that scene from The Last Jedi again. I'm like, all right, this is really cool. I love all of this, but I didn't feel like this spark of originality. It just was like I said, it was great. I loved it. It was exactly what I expected Trigger to hand me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I went to the Trigger Studio donut shop and I was like, Trigger, give me a donut, and they were like, here you go, and they handed me a perfectly nice normal glazed donut. I'm like, yes, a donut. I loved it. It was great. It was also exactly what I expected. So you put this a little higher than me, and I think we'll get into the discussion as to why for some of these later. But what are your thoughts on it?
So you are right. The Twins is somewhat unoriginal, but unfortunately, I'm not as much of a Star Wars head as you, so I don't necessarily know all these little things about it. So, no. So when I see this, like I wouldn't say necessarily they were surprising, but they were still visually pleasing to see.
Yes, visually very striking.
Yeah. Like I said, like Trigger, like for this, they used a very, very, very popping colors. Like I almost want to say a lot of the time they were almost neon. I like a lot of the, I like
very strong color palette.
I like how they kept falling back on the twin aspect. There was a lot of twos and everything, and whatnot, and like I just like enjoyed the story overall. Like
they did a very interesting thing with the color palette. Like when Carr supercharges his lightsaber, it uses a pink and cyan palette, for instance.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
And again, like even with this, like just because this, like we were talking about this like a little bit the other day, but just because the story is like the same old thing and stuff doesn't mean it can't be good. And like. Yeah, no.
I mean, I'm a sucker for the beats. I love it. Like, it starts with, like, Carr decides to steal the super crystal and not tell his sister. And she's like, Carr, where are you going? Where are you going, Carr? And he's like, Am, you're gonna die. And she's like, I don't give a shit. I'm evil.
It's all like, I'm not as evil, so I'm gonna save you. That's the thing I think I enjoyed about fucking Am is just... He's like, I'm not here to, like, save the fucking world or, thing this. I'm like, I just want to save you, and I'm like, I appreciate this.
Yeah, like, he's like, I'm not going to go join the Republic. I'm just going to get away from here with this crystal because I've seen the future. You're going to die.
Mm-hmm.
And M's a little over the top herself. She's like, we were created by the dark side. I will give my life to the dark side. Like, I think at some points the dialogue, and I don't know if this was just the subtitles, the dialogue gets a little too on the nose. They drop a lot of the famous quotes like, what, our duo? Who's credited as himself, by the way. You have a bad feeling about this? or later where it's like, as somebody wise once said, do it or not, there's no try. And I'm like, okay, all right, come on, calm down. I love it, but also could you relax a little? And Trigger's like, no, fuck you. Faster, harder, more space.
I think that's why I like it because, well, yeah, like I said, it's the same old story. They take the ridiculousness up to just a level. We're like, we're just going to do some fucking crazy shit.
Yeah, and honestly, because I love the way... I've always loved this about Trigger stuff, and like they take it to that nth degree, they put the dial to that 11. I think that is why this still is quite high. Like it's smack in the middle for me. It is definitely not in the bottom half because I'm like, no, this is good. I like this. I feel like it could have been a little bit better. Okay. So that was I was wondering about how the sub translation, because I feel like sometimes they didn't necessarily line up. I was wondering if it being phrased as being so on the nose was just a subtitles thing.
But like moments of like when he fucking locks the fucking lightsaber into the fucking
or when Am does the reverse, she sticks the bit in her chest and then like Grievous is out.
Yeah, I'm just like, Like all those like utterly ridiculous things. Yes, no, this is what, like you said, this is what I'm here for Trigger. This is what I want from Trigger. This is exactly what I want.
Yeah.
But so no, but
like they go through the whole part of cutting the thing in half, but his lightsaber retracts just enough to just like
tickle
cut Am a little boob window. Yeah, it's the great stuff. Trigger, this Trigger short is unrepentantly unsubtle, basically.
Yeah.
And like I think lacking some of that subtlety keeps it from being the tippy tip top, but it's still Trigger. You know what you were watching. You know what you wanted.
Mm-hmm. I think that's all I have to say on that.
Interesting. I need to watch the spotlights then. But yeah, so that was the twins. Like I said, and when I watched these, like the Duel of the Twins were my rocks. They were like, okay, this is the core. These are not necessarily breaking like crazy new ground, but they are bringing the anime aesthetic to Star Wars in a good way, and I like this. Mm-hmm. So we're gonna compare everything that comes out after this to that. And then I got fucking poleaxed because number 4 is The Village Bride.
I love this.
By is it pronounced Kinema Citrus?
Probably Kinema Citrus. I'm not sure.
It is with a K. Let's see. What are their main stuff they've done?
Actually, I'll just sleep and make time go 5 times faster. That's what I'll do.
They seem to. I mean, they mostly seem to do a lot of subcontracting for in-betweener frames and cooperating with people. They did Made in Abyss and Rising of the Shield Hero seem like the things that people will probably know best by them. Also did Review Starlight, that one anime. They seem to do a lot of subcontracted work. So they did this all on their own, and so like immediately this one shot to the top of my list. It didn't stay there because some of the later ones I really, really liked, but it's still pretty high up there for me. It's in my top half. It's really good. So I think the only reason why I think this wasn't necessarily my like super number 1 was it's very deliberately very slow and almost minimalist at times.
I would say slow and spiritual, very.
Yes, it's not a Studio Ghibli production, but it's definitely in their vein, right?
Like honestly,
like, it has this spiritual, almost environmental message that kind of like a lot of sweeping environmental shots and slow building music.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this was the one that. Sorry. I know that. I think this was the one done with the vocal track by. I don't remember her name off the top of my head, but she's the vocal artist who does a lot of the music for Yoko Taro stuff like Nier.
Oh yeah.
What Yoko Taro called her chaos language.
Mm-hmm.
Just make weird future vocal sounds. That shows up a bit in there. But like, so in The Village Bride, like I said, it's a little slow. It's very spiritual. And that's, very cool. These environmental shots are beautiful, but it does mean that it kind of is a slow build to the payoff. And I guess if I'm 100% if I'm 100% honest, the payoff's not the most payoffy payoff. Like, it's pretty cool, but it also gets resolved pretty fast.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we're dealing with shorts, it's all about like measurement of time, and I think again most of these are left open-ended. Like our main character, who's only known as F, is like her complete backstory is not elaborated on at all. Like you get the idea based on the timeline and her little bits of flashback, like what's going on with her character, right?
Yeah, she's carrying some trauma.
Like, yes. But you don't know like exactly, what her deal is. Like, we can assume that she, we know that it's post Clone Wars because that's a theme. Love that use, by the way. This idea that like the bandits rolled right up and were just like, oh hey, these battle droids have stopped. They're mine now. Kind of playing to the separatist, themes. They were like attacking the environment of the planet, and then the raiders came back, and it only got worse. But there's definitely like you don't know exactly like is it just because she like went through Order 66 kind of a thing? Like is that why she's like I don't want to be a Jedi, it's dangerous kind of a thing?
Mm-hmm.
What was exactly her relationship to her master as a teacher? I mean, because I think it's kind of interesting because the short is honestly quite romantic with its themes because it's called The Village Bride. There's the marriage ceremony and thing between like one of the like daughter of the village, the granddaughter of the village headman, and like the guy elsewhere. There's also kind of an undercurrent though that like she's being given as a hostage. I felt like there was like an undercurrent, especially in like the descriptions. Everywhere the description says they're gonna marry her off outside the village. They were like, she was also gonna like they were treating it like she was getting wed to weird bald guy. I don't think that's really was in the context of the short though.
No, I think she was actually getting married to the dude, but I think it was kind of one of those things of before you go, we'll give you this one little bit of happiness and whatnot or something.
Yeah,
that's the way I interpreted it.
Yeah. But like our main character is very like stoic and quiet, and she doesn't say a lot because she's dealing with some stuff.
Well, she takes a role of observing these people and their unique way of life. Which
we're not entirely sure like why she's here. She seems to be like looking for maybe like it's not like she's looking for a safe place to hide per se. She's like I think she's looking for like force relics or something.
I don't know, like
she's
her
trying to find bits and bobs. Her buddy, the explorer.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, you should check out this planet. Our mutual friend, your master, used to come from here. It's a cool place. And she's like, And then we get, like I said, our sweeping like spiritualism shots. We get they talk about the memories of the planet and stuff like that. There's a magic rock.
Mm-hmm. And ultimately, like I said, like I rated this one a little bit higher because I think you rated this as 4. I rated this as 3. Yes. Because ultimately, the Jedi, watching these people live but knowing like, trying to live their best, even though like, their planet is like fucked up. Their planet
is dying. They've lost a lot of, the bride and groom explicitly shout out all their parents are dead.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the implication is they were killed during the war, right?
Mm-hmm. And these bandits are wrecking their life. They're still trying to find their best fucking way and deal with what they can, and not necessarily giving up. Like
yes,
the
main woman, the village bride, the title character, who is not our main character, but her sister is like, nah, fuck it, I'm gonna fight.
And they're like, no, like that would just off. And she's like, no, that'll bring more pain. But the Jedi like sees all this, and I think like through that she's under to realize that like she can't necessarily stop. She can't stop. You can't stop. You got to keep going. And it gives
and I think she realizes that ultimately she can't not be herself, right?
Right.
Like she has these spiritual connections too. She has a brief conversation with the village bride Haru herself about like what they called the Magina or whatever, the Force basically.
Mm-hmm.
And like they're aware of it. They're kind of connected to it, but they're not full blown Jedi. And she kind of like, and our main character F kind of realizes that like you said, these guys are like living in harmony with nature, and they found their place in the universe, and they're still trying. And I'm just kind of living.
There's an island up there. I can see the water.
Ooh, that's a cool effect. You can see the water dribbling.
And I think this is best represented with F by her masks. Like throughout like most of the short, she's just hiding behind it. And apparently there's a reason for it, but like at the end, when she decides to confront the bandit, she just takes it off and she's like, bam, throw it down. Birds!
Yeah, so she has a scar. I don't think it's like a really big deal scar, but it's a memorable facial feature that might be like identifiable. The other key thing about her is she has a Padawan braid, which she cuts. She snips off her braid and a side braid, and takes off her mask to confront the bad guy. When she does the move, hello, I am a Jedi. And honestly, I think the thing that disappoints me the most is that this sequence is so short. Like at the end when she does the I am a Jedi bomb, it's so fast. Like her friend the explorer guy, shoots his gun and throws some missiles, and it's pretty cool. His helmet was a bomb the whole time, because of course it is.
I like how he just threw it perfectly, so it just goes straight up into the fucking ship, and we're just like,
yeah,
what?
Which disables all the droids. first of all, she does kind of an interesting TK thing, which she catches the blaster bolt, which interestingly is something we've usually only seen bad guys do. Actually, Vader does it in Rogue One, and Kylo does it in Force Awakens. But she like catches it and redirects it, and then she draws her saber. Her lightsaber is just a yellow katana, which I loved. Like it's flat with the sharpened blade, and it has kind of a crossguard thing. There's a lot of really creative lightsaber designs in this overall. Like, the lightsabers are just katanas, but also they're not. There's like a lot of work done there. There is one thing that's a little weird. Every fucking woman is wearing heels, but I guess most of them are Force users, so it doesn't matter.
Hey, I like how they had this little transformation sequence that they really wanted to highlight for some odd reason.
Yeah, they kind of unfold, and she becomes Speed and does the Iaijutsu cut and just hacks off the bandit guy's hand in one single cut. It's pretty cool. But then it's over. Like, and I'm like, okay, that was cool. I feel like the action payoff could have been a little bit longer, considering how slow and steady the buildup was. But it was still really good. And like I said, when I first watched it, it absolutely floored me. I was like, holy shit, wow. Because like it is just so beautiful and cinematic and slow, and you get this kind of buildup to this action payoff. It's pretty good.
Pretty good.
And then we get to the big one. Both our number ones, the Ninth Jedi. And also most people's number one, as far as I can tell.
Oh, yeah.
Specifically, I have seen the Ninth Jedi solo trending on Twitter off and on as well, like, along with Visions. I think there are a couple of reasons for that. So this is by Production IG. And I think... So, first of all, I think probably the reason why it ended up being so deep and so involved, it's one of the longest ones, I think, if not straight up the longest. It's like a little over 20 minutes. So I don't know if you heard this, Lucky, but I will tell the audience as well. Apparently, Production IG was originally going to do 2 shorts like Trigger, but they scrapped that and they combined their ideas for both shorts into The Ninth Jedi. So this is probably why it's a little more detailed and a little more dense, is because it is basically 2 shorts worth of ideas kind of trimmed together and put into one short.
This is slightly terrifying. I'm still going underwater here. I am now drowning.
Yeah, you're in trouble, buddy. That's a very interesting structure there. Wonder if that's like a new sub-biome thing. Like an underwater tunnel. You'll find air eventually, I'm sure.
I see some like right here. I'm going for. It was like, oh god, I made it.
There you go. But yeah, so this was by Production IG, directed by the guy who directed all Ghost in the Shell standalone complex. Huge shout out. Thumbs up. Love that guy's work. And yeah, this has been the standout hit, I think, for everybody.
Oh, there's a chest back here.
And like, I think why is because for me and for a lot of people, it hits all those moments I wanted it to. Right.
Right.
Like the visual style, very striking. Like, well, one, there's a twist which is done with the visual medium at the end, which is when
everyone ignited their lightsaber.
Yeah. Because we've been talking about the Ninth Jedi and all these lightsabers and all that stuff together, and then it comes together when the lightsabers finally get delivered and they do the payoff, and you're like, oh. And it's a joke that only works in the visual, right?
Right.
And I love it. But also just the overall aesthetics. Like, there's multiple action scenes. There are multiple set pieces in this. I know some people are like, oh, dude, I don't like the lightsabers of mood rings. I'm like, shut up. Visual storytelling. It's amazing. Like the way our main character Kara, her father explicitly explains that he tempered the kyber crystals so they have this reaction. And like her saber starts as like colorless, and then it gets kind of like dark green, like a dark cord green, and then ultimately when she kind of like is sure of herself, it goes solid green. You know? Like, it's very good visual storytelling. But also just that scene, like, when we first meet Kara, with those fucking, like, oil well cranes just
I love that design.
Fishing for those asteroids with the kyber crystals in them. It's like, oh, my God.
I just love that scene when you start out and you go past the fucking, like, Sky Temple. You just see the fucking crane just grab a fucking rock and yank it down, and you're just like, what the fuck was that?
And then they pay it off. You come back and you're like, oh my god, this is the process. This is how they get the crystals. There's just these fucking cranes just fucking shooting rocket harpoons into space and grabbing these rocks, and it's so good.
Yeah, no, like so much design elements in here, like the vehicles, the droids, the lightsabers themselves. It's like,
yeah,
God,
every lightsaber is unique. It is designed that way. There's the great action scenes on like Kara on the bike, which was seen in the trailer, and she does she eventually like jumps off it and runs on the ice and sabers the guy. Like, it's so great. I do think they did a couple of interesting things with lightsaber designs, like in the hilts and stuff. Like some of them I think almost resembled like the jian, the Chinese straight sword kind of a thing, like with the little tassel at the end, kind of a little ring guard. Like the choreo in the fight scenes is pretty good as well, very diverse. Also pretty good character designs. Like, everybody has pretty varied character designs as well. Yeah. And it's just really good. Like, everything clicks together. You meet the characters, you come together. There's strong visuals, strong characterization, strong plot. Like, there's a fucking monologue that introduces this. It's like, the Margrave is looking for Jedi to receive his lightsabers because their technology has been lost. He has invited these people to come, and so they've showed up, and blah blah blah, and like they all get together. And I like how when you see it, there's 7 of them, so you're like, all right, so there's 7. So who's 8 and 9? Like, because it's called the 9th Jedi. There's that kind of setup for it. And then, like I said, there's an actually well executed twist, or series of twists for the 3rd act, basically. And there's a big fight scene at the end, and it's great.
No, like I love I love the twist because they actually downplay it at first because all the Jedi are waiting at the top of the Sky Temple.
The Sky Temple, yeah.
Like, they ask, are we really getting lightsabers? And a fucking droid who's been sent there to wait for them until the Margrave and the lightsabers. I was like, oh, you mean like this lightsaber? Brings out one, and one of the guys pick it up, and
they let Ethan pick it up. It's blue. He's like, he's pretty excited. He's young. He seems. He was the last to arrive. All these other guys were here before him. I wasn't suspicious at all, it turns out.
Yeah. But
yeah. So like they're like, oh, okay, we'll wait. But they do this so great, like it starts early with Kara's dad gets kidnapped basically after he blows up his own forge. It's pretty sick. She delivers the bundle of sabers, and she's like, here's sabers that my dad made. Please come help me. Rescue him. And they're like, oh, these are cool. Hey, did you get these from the Margrave? And she's like, oh, you guys want to know about the Margrave? Yeah, I've known him my whole life. He's cool. And that's how we know. We're like, uh-oh. The twist is not what we thought the twist was. Like, and I mean, it's not really, like, I wasn't necessarily thinking the Margrave would be a bad guy, necessarily. I had my question mark, but it's like, they kind of, like, try to lead you a little.
Oh, yeah, they try to, like, ask, like, hey, is this Margrave actually on the up and up and shit?
And he has a very sinister appearance, which the quote-unquote droid comments on. But, like, then you get, like, the twist, because that's after all the lightsabers have been picked out, and they do the thing, and then everybody turns them on, and they're all fucking red, and you're like, uh-oh. And then the Margrave pops out of the droid, and he's like, aha!
I love,
the whole time.
He pops out, and he I can't remember fully, but I'm pretty sure he had his arms crossed beside the droid when he pops up. I'm like, sir.
Yes. No, it's great. And like I said, he uses kind of a Chinese wuxia style with his lightsaber. It's really good. There's some great like choreo in here. And he's just a badass. Like he's a good guy, and he's just a baller, like dropping these dark Jedi like it's no problem. And then one of the guys turns out to be like a plant he sent there, and his lightsaber turns purple, and he's like, I'm sorry, Margrave, I lost myself. I was surrounded by too much dark side energy. Like, oh, it's so good. Because it ends with, like, it's basically, because it's 20 minutes, it's like the fucking pilot of an anime series.
It really is.
It ends with a literal call to adventure. Kara, don't worry, your dad is out there somewhere, along with possibly the remaining 7 Jedi.
It's like, we must go and find them.
6. We must find them. And then it does the fucking outshot, and then it switches around.
And the fucking temple turns into a lightsaber. You're just like,
yeah, the temple, which was, looks like a lightsaber. Oh, it's so good.
I think there's like a giant kyber crystal in it or something.
Yeah, there's a giant kyber crystal. One of the bad guys gets punted into it and fucking burns up in blue flame. Like, oh, it's just so good, guys. Oh my god. Yeah, immediate number 1.
Yeah, no,
And like I said, it should shock nobody that this is the one genuinely it seems like receiving the most praise. It seems like it has the stuff that people are looking for. It's very Star Wars, you know. Our main heroine is a literal teenage girl who's just like minding her own business and wants to be a cool Jedi someday. And her you know, dad's like, all right, cool. Check out the sabers. Also, I mean, guys, you shouldn't be surprised. I love this. You know how I am. It's about swords. If you watch the APs, you know that I give these guys new kyber crystals like they're fucking candy. Care. No, it's great. I love it. I really, and I know people are talking about it, I really hope that Disney decides to like option it for like a series.
I mean,
like,
they did specifically say it was Outer Rim, so I'm all like, man, you can do anything in the Outer Rim.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be set far enough in the future after the sequel trilogy that like you get the idea that like the Jedi have kind of come and gone again, and like it's all quiet and stuff, and like but there's the dark powers, these Jedi hunters who are like the Jedi cannot come back. You know, like it's far enough in the future that you could just like leave it continuity ambiguous and like do a whole. I think you could do at least a 13 episode core.
Yeah, probably.
If not more, and it's pretty baller. I like it a lot. And then I think we've said as much as we can say about Ninth Jedi. It's good. You should if you watch none of them, watch this one.
Yeah.
Well, I think it turned out to be the iconic short, basically.
I think so.
Because it hits all the beats, so it's good. We move on to a weird one then.
Yeah.
TOB1 by Science Saru, the studio that brought you Devilman Crybaby. Which I noticed them flexing those chops a couple of times. Also, I think more appropriately, Space Dandy.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely, I think some of the like weird Art Deco Devilman Crybaby shit was flexed in this short a little. So, TOB1 is interesting. Both of us have it a little low on the list. Are we in the exact? No, it's not the exact slot because yeah, you put it your last. It's my 8 second. All right, guys. You know how we talked about how the Duel was just a Kurosawa film but Star Wars? TOB1 is just Astro Boy but Star Wars. Straight up.
Yep.
It's just Astro Boy. Alternatively, it's just Mega Man, but also Mega Man is just Astro Boy. Again.
Yeah.
Like, I know the guy looks a lot like Dr. Light, but no, also, I am experienced enough as a Mega Man stan to know that Mega Man is also Astro Boy. So, the reason why I did not rank it dead last is I was quite surprised. I thought this was going to be my least favorite. I thought I might even dislike this short after it was done. I flipped around on it a little. As you might expect from Science Saru, the cinematography is pretty good in this.
Yeah,
they do some very interesting interplay of like camera motion and interplay of like light and dark and rain effects.
Mm-hmm.
They do some really interesting. They do something I think that more of the shorts needed to do. They do a couple of montages.
Yeah.
Like time-lapse montages with music that are really good to like give you this sense of time going on. It's still just Astro Boy and it's kind of weird. Like there's a droid who wants to be a Jedi and he gets a lightsaber in the end. Is he actually a Jedi or did he just get a lightsaber? Is he like a kyber-powered droid? What is it? Who knows? Once again, open-ended questions. I like kind of what they did with the setup. Like the Professor Mikase is clearly like a Jedi. You think he's just like talking his tool robe, but no, the Inquisitor who visits later explicitly says he was armless.
Yeah.
So like he lost his arms in the war or something. He's like trying to bring life to this planet with all his little droid buddies. There's these little sketches of everything everywhere. It's like very heartfelt, but also it definitely feels a little kiddie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, appealing to the younger audience. Which is very weird because it's also just Astro Boy. Like, I guess maybe that's why I'm kind of like confused. I don't know who this was targeted at.
Yeah.
Like, the aesthetics are very much for children, but you're making a fucking shout out to Astro Boy, which is ancient.
Well, I guess you could say Astro Boy is ancient, but it's one of those things of like.
Oh, it's very iconic. Obviously, it's probably
iconic, but like it's like things appealing to kids. Like I said, kids are young. Kids don't know fucking references to anything.
True.
So you can do something that's referencing Astro Boy and still have it like appeal to kids and whatnot. You just gotta
I guess it's kind of interesting. Though, shout out to them. These motherfuckers got Masako Nozawa.
Yes!
It's a Goku.
Yes!
To be this robot boy. Fucking A.
I had to
Shout out
look
to
this.
Masako Nozawa, who's like 80.
I had to look it up. I was like, this sounds like fucking Goku. Is it?
I was like, oh my god, is that? And I also double checked later. I'm like, yeah, it is. No shit. Look at the credits. I'm like, yeah, nope, there it is. It's fucking Goku to be this little robot boy. Still selling it hard, even though like I said, she's like 80 or something. Shout out to you, man. Like I said, I don't think this was dead last because a lot of the cinematography of saying dead last almost makes me feel bad. That makes me feel bad.
I finally got
Rhapsody.
fuck.
Like it's good. It's still good, but like, it's a weird one. It was a weird aesthetic choice. I mean, what do you expect from the guys who brought you Devilman Crybaby, of course?
Like, it was good animation, it flowed, but it also, like, I feel like it didn't flow consistently, I would say.
No, they definitely, like, stop step between, like, cutesy kind of simplified animation, and then, like, when you get to the fight scene at the end, it's, like, super ultra high def, super flowing motion. Look at this camera pan.
I'm gonna combine.
Love the design on the Inquisitor, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that giant Darth Vader motherfucker even had the Inquisitor's tie, and then Toby cuts his face, and it, like, splits open into his actual mouth, and you're like, oh, my God. Like, the aesthetics were very good, the animation was very good. It was just a little weird. It was a little bit of an oddball, but that's okay. That's okay. You can be a little oddball.
Mm-hmm.
It's all right. I don't know. Do you have anything else to say about Toby? TOB1?
No, like, for me, unfortunately, it is ranked at the bottom for me. Not because I think it was necessarily bad, but, again, it was weird.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way I can say it. It was weird.
It probably resonates way better with the Japanese audience because it's an Astro Boy reference. But for us, I'm like, okay, hey, this is just Astro Boy. That's cool. I like your montages. Your animation's good.
Neat.
And I know some people in the States, some of the Star Wars stands will have a harder time with a droid possibly wielding the Force because that is normally explicitly against the rules. Even though, I don't know if you talked about this, but there's been trailers and stuff for, what is it, Hunters? Star Wars Hunters? Which is a, like, weird arena hero game. It looks like it's going to be like Star Wars Overwatch or something coming out. And it's really weird. I think the game is probably going to be trash just because you're making a weird arena fighter thing in, like, the year 2021. But the character design, the hero designs are top notch. There's like a heavy weapon stormtrooper who's like wearing his old busted up armor. There's an Ugnaught riding around in a droideka like it's his power chair or something. They have generic hot dark side lady. But they also have a droid who believes he's a Jedi fanboy. And so dresses up like a Jedi and wields a lightsaber. So it's not like the aesthetics of a droid with a lightsaber is out there these days. Here, I'll post a screenshot that has a couple of these guys for you in mod channel. You can also see the Wookiee in the background who wields like two giant droid arms as weapons.
Oh,
like I said,
great.
the character designs for this are pretty top tier. I'm assuming the game will probably be trash or at the very least be forgettable.
Probably is. Unfortunately.
But the aesthetics are on point. But yeah, so like I said, I'm one of those, I think I'm a little bit of a rare breed of Star Wars fan where at least as I've gotten older, I've stopped really giving a shit about continuity. The fact that Disney literally threw out one continuity is just like, all right, okay, none of it really matters. I'd like the material to be internally consistent when referencing itself, but otherwise I'm like, I don't care that a droid has a lightsaber. Maybe he's powered by a kyber crystal. Kyber crystals are magic, stardust or something. I don't know. You guys made it weird. I didn't make it weird. But so let's move on from TOB1. This will be a little bit of an interesting discussion because you did not have this one as high as.
No.
This is Studio Trigger's other piece, The Elder. It's a pretty simple one.
Mm-hmm.
So, a Jedi and his Padawan are chilling. They go out to the Outer Rim. The Padawan is kind of young and eager. He's like, Master, I'm glad we get to go out of the temple and explore. You know, they say you're the Jedi Master who knows the most about the Outer Rim everywhere, and his master's just kind of like, is that so? He's doing kind of the stoic master thing. You know, letting his Padawan kind of ask questions and resolve things. But he gets kind of a weird flash. He senses a disturbance, a dark power. And his Padawan's all like, we gotta go check that out and fight it. And he's like, whoa, calm down, kid. Be cool. Don't start none. There won't be none. And he's like, all right, master. So they go down to this planet. There is a slight, I don't know if you want to call it problem, but there's a recurring theme that, shocker, all of the planets in the shorts made by anime studios in Japan are all just Space Japan. Who could have guessed? Who could have seen?
I mean, I'm actually trying to think about fucking, building design in the rest of the Star Wars, so I'm like, I'm not actually that impressed about it either. So I'm like, no, it's usually...
No, I mean, so I think Star Wars does have some unique designs, but some of it is also just very generic sci-fi stuff.
Yeah. There, and I could take my fucking fishing rod everywhere because I gotta.
If you think about it too hard, the Tatooine architecture is just igloos but with sand.
Yeah.
It's all right. I like it. It's very standoutish, but it's like, I don't know if it's that adventurous. There are some very specific things I think that they do that stand out. But yeah, it's like I said, I don't know if it's a bad thing. It's just something I noticed. I'm like, oh hey, it's another Space Japan. So they go down there, they talk to the people. You get the impression that the kid's not a bad guy. Like he's a little stoic, he's a little gung ho, the Padawan, but like the village children pop out and like give him a wink, and he like gives a wink back.
He bonds with the kids immediately.
Yeah, he's young and he's a little headstrong. His master is much more like older, experienced, knows a lot more about lots of different cultures in the world. Kind of a thing. He's like, these people are quite shy. I'm gonna attack them. You stay here. They go back and forth. And they learned that a mysterious old guy showed up and went into the mountains. And the Padawan's like, "Yo, master, do you think that's a dark presence?" And he's like, "Could be. We're gonna have to go after him, but we could miss him if we don't find his ship." And so the Padawan says, he does the Fred thing. Let's split up, gang. I'll go into the mountains because I'm young and hip. You stay here and watch a spaceship. This cannot possibly go wrong. And I'm immediately like, oh shit, this is gonna go wrong.
Yeah.
And it does. There's slow build up to this, right? Like, first of all, his master gives his Padawan a warning. He's like, Jedi Master Tajin is like, hey, watch out. There's vicious animals up in the woods. What were they called? Something with a V.
I don't know. Star Wars animals. They have.
Yeah. There's big animals, big game here. And he's like, listen, they won't fuck with you if you don't fuck with them. So play it cool. Don't be aggressive. You'll be okay. And okay, man. So like we get the subtle build up that the mountains are dangerous. First, when he starts the climb with the kids as his guide, the Padawan Dan is like, I cannot believe an old dude did this climb. This sucks. This is hard. And then he finds a wounded animal killed by a clean cut. And the master's like, he's watching his old ship, his creepy old ship, by the way, which is, all in black. And the master's like, this looks like some old Sith ship drawings I've seen in the records. And he's like, Dan, it's very dangerous out there. You should come back. And Dan's like, okay. And then the old guy shows up.
I appreciate that Dan was just all like, no, I will return.
I will return.
Like,
too bad. This is an old guy.
Yeah, no, it's like, too late, Dan.
And this is the kind of, like, this is why part of this, we'll talk more about other reasons why I like this one so much, but this bit and the future bit is why I like this one so much. First of all, is the talk about classic samurai movie stuff. Like, the fucking choreo and the tropes in this, like the old guy comes out and he's like, a Jedi, huh? How you doing? And then Dan's like, wow, you're kind of evil, bro. Are you a Sith? And he's like, nah, left those guys. Those guys were losers. And he's like, And then the old guy, he does that move. He fucking rolls. He draws his lightsabers and rolls his shoulders. You can hear all his bones crack. It's like he's gonna fucking Hulk out, only he doesn't. And he's got 2 red katana blade lightsabers. Mm-hmm. And they get into a short fight, and the choreo is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Very tight, just back and forth exchange. And of course, Dan is a Padawan. He holds no chance, even though this dude is super old. He gets beaten. And at first I always thought, oh, damn, he did. He wasn't. He was only injured. He walks away. I think it was a deliberate play by the old guy. But, like, he gets bodied pretty hard. And so the master is like, well, shit, now I gotta go into the mountains. He shows up, and then they have a second fight, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, and it's the rain, and it does the steam on the lightsabers, and he does the fucking high guard move. Oh, and then when the old guy goes for the move that beat Dan to, like, swing his offhand, Taja just catches it, throws it in the air. Oh my god, so good! Oh. Guys, like I said, I like swords. Okay, I can't understand. It's amazing. And then, like, after he beats the old guy, he has this message about, like, the fucking impermanence of things, and it's really zen. He's like, age destroys everything, my dude. You gotta, like, learn this lesson. Like, oh my god.
Hey, that's some mono Y right there.
Yeah, no, like, so not only do I love this one for, like, its appearance and aesthetic, but also it has some great, like, philosophical stuff, which I find super cool. That's why this is my number 3. Like, I really like this one a lot for its themes and stuff. And that is definitely a me thing.
Yeah. So for me, the Elder, it's down number 6. It's underneath the Twins and Duel for me. And I say this because I'm gonna bring it right back around to what Omega said about the Twins. It did, like, while the choreography was cool and stuff. Again, the story and the plot and the characters didn't necessarily do anything special. It was literally, we're gonna go to this planet and we're gonna fight a dude. That's it.
I think the actual only quote unquote twist was that Dan wasn't dead.
Yeah. Other than that, it was a straight stock, go here, fight dude. Like, I did enjoy, like I said, I did enjoy the talk about the Time Prince and Dan. Like, I enjoyed them as a character, but like I said, like nothing in here necessarily shocked me. I was just like, no, this is some good fight. I don't even say, like, in the character design, like, honestly, I think the best character design was actually the old guy of just how, like...
Oh, yeah, no, fucking how creepy he is, and he's got black sclera, which isn't normal for Sith even.
Yeah, I know, but, and, like, every time he moves, his bone was just crack and stuff. I was like...
they did that such high detail animation on his fingers when he did the lightning.
Yeah. Like, so that was, like, really good, but then I look at, like, Dan and the Master, I'm just like, you guys are some dudes. That's cool. So it's like, no.
Yeah, they didn't necessarily get super adventurous with the character design, and maybe that's because it's supposed to be much more.
It's much
like
more so,
the Star Wars aesthetics we know.
Yeah.
It's like very clearly meant to be like sometime before the prequel trilogy. The Jedi Order exists; they're doing their Jedi thing. The Sith are kind of secret.
Mm-hmm. So, like I'm with Omega. All these are good in their own ways, but just some stick with you, a lot stronger than the other ones, and. Like I said, unfortunately, Omega's all about swords. I'm not all about swords. I like axe and hammers. I'm a half the weapon kind of guy. So like all that's like, while the fight was like really good, I was like, this does not resonate me on like a spiritual level like it would Omega. But no, it was still really good. I guess.
Yeah. Like it's way up there for me because, like I said, it resonates with me so personally. Like it's got all these like philosophical things, but also the choreo is really good, and they do a thing that, partially because I'm sure they had access to animation and storyboarding, but really good stunt choreo in real life does this too. But like, there was not a lot of wasted movement. They did a lot of really interesting stuff, like figuring out what they all did. And the guy with 2 swords actually did stuff with both his blades, Mm-hmm. And straight up, like Master Taijin was like, I see, you have an advantage. Nope. Get rid of that. Like, it was really good. But yeah, like I said, all of these we like. Even the last one when we get there. I still like that one, but it's
rough.
Spoilers. We're almost there, but Akakiri I'm pretty sure was designed to be painful to watch.
In various ways.
Yes, and I like it, but I hate it.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll get there. Because the next one is another one of, I think, the big centerpiece ones. Lop and Ocho.
Oh, man.
By Geno Studio, who did Golden Kamuy, among other things. And this is another one that's like the Ninth Jedi. It has the fucking pre-roll. Like, you have a fucking monologue explaining, this planet, what's going on here. They were kind of minding their own business, but they weren't really super industrial. They weren't able to compete, so they let the Empire come, and the Empire brought these laborers, these slave laborers, who are a rabbit race. They're explicitly supposed to be the Lepi, the same race as Jackson, a very famous character from the old school Marvel Star Wars comics from back in the 80s, who was a space rabbit man with a gun.
If only I knew this race existed, I would be like, I want to play one. They look cool.
But yeah, so like it's well, again, showing you that some of the studios behind this have some old school fan chops,
Mm-hmm.
Like they know some classic shit. Shockingly, guess what? Lots of Japanese people and Japanese artists are big fans of Star Wars because it resonates with them for some reason. Could it be because George Lucas extensively studied Japanese cinema? An Eastern philosophy? No, definitely.
Nah, can't be. What you talking about?
But yeah, so Lop and Ocho. First of all, it's another longer one, and it's almost in almost like in a couple of parts, like a couple of mini acts, right?
I'd say it definitely has a 3x structure.
Yes. So like in the intro, you meet Lop herself, who is an escaped, slave. She's still wearing a collar. She's got a little droid buddy. She's, stealing fruits and stuff and jumping around, and she runs into Ocho and her father Yasaburo, who is very clearly some kind of Yakuza boss man.
Mm-hmm.
They literally call him Boss Oyabun.
Mm-hmm.
He's got the scars, like, in there, and I mean, this prequel bit's very important for later stuff, but like, Ocho immediately is like, "Hello, bunny child. You are now my sister. We will be friends forever." And Lop's just like, "Okay, cool, thanks." Like, she doesn't know what the fuck to do. She's a weird orphan slave girl. And Yasaburo's kind of like, "All right, okay, I'll take care of this." And it's an interesting counterpoint, right? Like, in this intro bit, you see that Ocho immediately takes a liking to Lop and, like, lets her into the family and, like, is the catalyst for this. And Yasaburo seems kind of reluctant.
Well, especially at first, he was all like, "No, we have to leave her." And he was all like, and Ocho was like, "No, we're going to do it." And the Hasbro was like, "Okay, fine."
And they take a little family photo, which becomes super tragic later. Because the thing is that over the course of the short, this relationship kind of flips. They do this kind of like dynamic subversion. Because in the middle bit, we flash forward, like 10, 15 years. We're all adults now. And Yasaburo is like striking back against the Empire. He's realized that these guys are keeping him down. They're just exploiting his planet. And like, they're not going to be able to assert their independence anymore, and it upsets him. Whereas his daughter Ocho is like, "Dad, that's dumb. You can't fight these guys. We need their help to get advanced. Then we can maybe figure out independence. But like, we got to catch up first. We have to modernize. We have to go through some kind of reformation or something." The themes are not necessarily subtle. Ocho is dressed very traditionally Japanese in her style, and then switches it for a
Western,
a very ungendered Western, because the aesthetics of the Empire were heavily inspired by Axis Powers uniforms. So yeah, like she for the clean-cut white uniform of Special Weapon Branch, Director Krennic's boys, which explains why they have KX security droids later. So she's like, "No, Dad, like you're gonna get everybody in trouble. You're gonna fuck her shit up," and at first you're like, okay, both of these sides seem reasonable, but as we move on, Ocho kind of like takes the dive off the deep end. Like, she is really serious about this. Like, literally, she has Lop like drive her out of the main town, which has these lovely cherry blossom trees. Pop in, and then there's like this weird weaselly side part guy who's like, "Oh yes, lovely Ocho has decided to join us in the Empire. Quick, prove your loyalty, because if you can't, we'll have to kill your dad and all his friends." And she's like, "Okay." So she cuts her hair, very big move, cuts her braid, throws it away, bites her thumb in the classic Japanese fashion, and redoes her fucking eyeliner with her own blood. Like, that's how serious she is, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of lets you, the audience, know, oh, shit. Okay, this is like really serious. And like, Lop runs off. She's very sad. She meets up back with Yasaburo and is like, "Yo, Dad, Ocho's not coming back, man. It sucks." And Yasaburo is like, "Indeed, this sucks. As you notice, all my dudes have left me because they're afraid. But you're still here. That's cool. All right, I'm gonna make you the inheritor of the family. Here's our backstory. Here's our family magic sword. Stay here. You're in charge now."
Morgan Freeman, she did not stay here.
No, because what Yasaburo does, he goes out and he does another rebel attack. He fucking bombs the Imperial base again. Listen, Yasaburo does not seem like a smart man. He's very nice. He's very kind. Like, he literally goes through this whole spiel about, like, "Hey, listen, I have problems with my emotions. I'm sorry if I ever treated you, if I made you thought I treated you lesser than Ocho, my actual flesh and blood daughter, but, like, you've been a real daughter to me. Like, you're still here now, so I'm going to do the ritual, and I'm going to entrust you with the sword." And I like their backstory. Like, long ago, a Jedi came to the planet and like helped them get structured and like taught their ancestor how to use his lightsaber and left it.
This ain't gonna work.
Really good backstory shit. Why are there fucking kanji in the lightsaber blade? Who knows? Who cares?
Who cares?
Who cares? Great aesthetic. And then we get kind of the climax, the last bit, where like Lop takes it upon herself to be like, nah, I'm not just, if I'm the heir to this family, I'm serious. I'm going to reunite our family.
Mm-hmm.
Damn the torpedoes. And there's some great shots that were in the trailer of her like running into the city, dodging the checkpoint, jumping up on her umbrella to like glide in. She's got a little scouter hair clip. It's adorable. And when she gets there, she finds her sister and her adoptive sister and father locked in Mortal Kombat with some Japanese-ass anime weapon. Ocho is wielding like a 3-section staff, but with energy bits. And Yasubaro has some size that are doing some stuff. And they're locked in Mortal Kombat.
I almost want to think that those daggers were some sort of vibro weapon or something, because it looked like it had some sort of energy system in them. I don't know.
Yeah, there was some slight post effect on there, which is how vibroblades in The Mandalorian have been portrayed. So they have a little bit of back and forth. They fight a little. Yasubaro realizes that Lop is here, and he gets his other eye taken out. It's very sad, but he lives. It's good. Everybody lives. It's a good part of this short. And so the two sisters confront each other, and you really do get to see how they flipped. Like, especially given how close she was when they were young, I get the impression that like Ocho and Lop really were close, but like ultimately Ocho was really hung up about how no, I'm the head daughter. I'm gonna become the lead. I will pick the future for this family, kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. So she doesn't go like full freak out, but she freaks out a little bit when she realizes that Lop has the family sword, and she's like, dude, you picked her over me? And like, Yasubaro's not in any mood to talk, but if I was him, I would be, yeah, no shit. Look what you're wearing right now. Because like I said, she's done the full evil uniform switch. Short hair, white uniform, striking. And they fight, and it's really beautiful, really good choreo, but also very like emotional.
Yes.
Lop reveals she has the force powers.
Mm-hmm.
She pulls a blade to her and dual wields. It's a pretty cool effect. And she's like, she resolves herself to like she's still gonna win the fight. Like she doesn't want to kill Ocho, but if she has to hurt her to like get her to stop her, she's not afraid of that either. Mm-hmm. Does the like super cool X cut.
She goes.
But it turns out Ocho is perfectly fine.
Yeah, no, because somehow the dude. I always wondered about this. How do people just get their vehicles up underneath these people and they're okay? Even if you're landing on it, it's still gonna hurt. You should be.
She also did get blasted super high into the air by the cut, but whatever. It's anime. It's fine. She lands on top of like
Weasels.
Weasel Boy's Raider cruiser. Very nice design. Originally by Fantasy Flight Games for X-Wing miniatures, by the way. It's very nice to see that used more. And she just kind of is, and she didn't really say anything. She's just like, murr, and then they leave. And this is another one why this one's so high for me. It sets up a series, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, our characters have, like, their opening arcs, but they're not resolved. Like, you know, I think there's a little bit of an understanding between the two, but it's not resolved. So there's this open ending of, like, Lop wants to go after her sister. What will she do? What will happen to their planet? Because the Empire does leave, but also... like, Ocho leaves with them, and it's really sad.
Mm-hmm.
I talked a lot about that one. I've gotten into, like, plot summary mode for some reason. Lucky, your thoughts on Lop and Ocho? Because it is also your number 2. It's number 2 for both of us.
Well, honestly, I don't have anything to add. Like, it's just good. It has this whole breadth of emotional, not even catharsis, just... understanding, I guess.
It's not a complete story, but it is a complete episode, basically.
Yes.
Like, it's there's more to these characters in this narrative, but you get the whole package of what you would say from an episode. It's like the Ninth Jedi in that respect. It's very, very together. And I'm not entirely like, I was wondering, when I was watching it, would this be above the Ninth Jedi? For me, it wasn't. I think it's because it does have a little bit of a downer ending, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I think that is kind of the difference. Like, the Ninth Jedi ends positively, but also is like, and the adventure continues. Mm-hmm. This is like, okay, the adventure continues because the emotional catharsis is not reached.
Yeah.
We have not resolved our main issue of, are these sisters still sisters? You know, will Lop succeed?
Yeah, and I think that's what's the thing that honestly, like, I think that's one of the reasons I came in, because I want to see more. I think that's one of the things that also sells me like on like, you know, Night Jedi and Lop and Ocho is like, I'm invested in these characters. I want to see what happens. A lot of these other ones is like, no, it's fine. Like, it's good. They told me it's a short story. I'm cool. Like, fucking the duel it's solid. Like, the Elder is something that probably could be, but it'd be something more like maybe like an episodic kind of thing. It's just like, you know,
yeah,
like more
I
short.
think those characters could be interesting overall. I just, like I said, the actual short resonated very well with me, but that's definitely like most of the ones, like the Elder, like the Duel, like even the Twins, is like, where do you go from here? Where does this go?
Yeah,
does this go anywhere? Like,
No.
I gotta be real. I don't know if Trigger could do a whole series of the Twins. Like, that would probably get weird after a while.
No, but you can definitely.
How would they keep topping themselves?
Like, but with like Lop and Ocho, you can definitely see some things. Like, you can see something planet size. You can see some things of Lop, like questioning like things about the Force and herself and family. Nasaburo, you can see like, and same with like Ocho. It's like
you know, like what is Ocho's private reaction to realizing that Lop was the head, but also that she's a motherfucking Jedi? Like where does she go from there?
There's like so many things. Do I want to keep it like this? I think I do.
I think Village Bride is the same way, right? Because we don't see so much of F's character and her backstory. You could absolutely do, and like she flies off in her sweet spaceship at the end. You could absolutely do more of like her navigating her way. Like, is she gonna roll around unmasked and just be like, "Yeah, I'm a Jedi. What of it?" Or like, you know, what do you do there? Do a lot with.
But no, like Lop and Ocho, like I said, it's like it's my number 2, so as well.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, yeah, no, it's good.
And so now we get to not quite the bottom, but close to the bottom. Akakiri, which I'm fairly certain they would just be Red Cutter. Also by Science Sar. Should not shock anybody. It's very stylized and cinematic.
I'm gonna tell you guys right up. I was not a fan of the animation style. Really not. It kind of.
I liked parts of it. So like a lot of the like character stuff was a little wonky. I liked some of the like action and background shots. They also did something that I liked. I mean, it makes sense because it was the same studio, but they also did some stuff that I liked in TOB1. They also used montages.
Yeah. Which
are pretty cool. But yeah, it's very stylized and weird, and it's a little off-putting. I gotta be real. I feel like this one was designed top to bottom. Like, it was designed to make you feel a little uncomfortable. It's apparently it was described as a beautiful yet painful story.
I got the painful part. I don't know if I call it beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, I think parts of it were pretty good. But yes, it's got an interesting stylistic bent. So like a scruffy Jedi flies his B-wing backwards into the ground. The animation on that was a little weird. But he meets up with his not girlfriend, a princess who's been deposed by a dark side user, because he returned to this planet because he keeps having visions of a lady dying. And so going back to the well on reasons why some stuff is not super high on our list, is like it gives you exactly what you expected. I knew what the fucking twist was right away. Oh, gee, he has a girl he likes and he keeps having images of her dying somehow? Just go fucking die, dude. And it doesn't do anything to change this.
Nope.
In fact, that's almost like the end conclusion of the story is like early on he has this moment where he's like, nothing is fated. And he goes back and saves the guy who we thought would have died. But then later at his moment of crisis, and when the bad guy says, it is fated, like, he doesn't do the thing. He doesn't do the like, nah. He like does exactly what we expect him to do. And it's very sad and weird. Like, they go all this far, they travel all over, some beautiful traveling scenes. They get to the end, he confronts this, giant Sith muscle lady, who beats him up a little bit and then just confuses his brain, and he stabs his girlfriend, and then he's like, oh shit, what did I do? And then she's like, don't worry, bruh, we could fix it with the dark side. And he's like, cool, dark side.
I love it.
And they bring her back to life, which is, that's a trope that's been used before. That's a dark side thing to, like, save people through your emotional torment and attachment. And then she wakes up and she's like, yo, dude, what the fuck? And he's like, man, I'm evil now. Put up my hood. And just walks off. It flies off. And it's like, what? Like, again, I don't think it was bad. Like, they told the story they wanted to tell. And parts of, I think, they did some interesting things with, like, their choreo, I think, was pretty interesting. Like, they had some, like, very high-speed action shots that were very interesting. Use some different kind of structure to stuff. And I definitely I felt the character relationships right.
Yeah.
Like, you can get this impression that the Jedi and the Princess Mika are, like, you get that they had a past. They even show flashbacks, they do the whole 9 yards. But, like, I would not want to watch more of this show. Unless part 2 is our hero realizes he's being a dungus and stops. And I think that's why. Like, it has just a painful twist end, and it's not even a twist, because, like I said, I fucking saw it coming a mile away.
I think the theme of this one was inevitability.
Yeah, basically. Like, it's all about the fact that our hero is being given visions that if he continues on this path, this thing is inevitable. But he's like, no, it isn't.
It's he basically did a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah. And ultimately, that's another thing, is he basically does the Anakin problem. He falls for the Anakin failsafe. He's like, I care so much about this girl, I will do anything to save her. But by involving myself so directly, I've fucked it up. Yes. I caused this.
Yeah.
Like, literally, he goes, like, berserk and red and, like, cuts down 5 dudes. And then, like, the last one is, like, the princess being, like, either mind-controlled or telekinetic manipulated with a mask. And, like, because he was literally seeing red, he didn't catch it. And then, like, oh, no, his hubris.
Mm-hmm.
And then the villain is like, yo, dog, you want to be evil? And he's like, I guess. Even though, like, he has a conversation with his old dude master who's like, somebody else should go. If you go on this, you're going to destroy yourself. You're going to fuck it up.
He's like, no, I'm going to do it. And you're just like, you shouldn't have done it.
And that's the conclusion. It tells us exactly what's going to happen. He's got to fuck it up, and he's got to fail. And he fucks it up, and he fails. And I'm like, okay, all right. Like I said, it's not a bad story. It's just, it's a little obvious. I think I resonated with some of the visual tropes a little more than you did. I have it at number 7.
Mm-hmm.
Though, I don't know. I could rewatch Tatooine Rhapsody and TOB1 and decide I like them better. Like I said, it's a painful story. It's not usually the kind of story I like. And yeah. Like, it's kind of deliberately designed this way, I think, and it's just kind of okay. All right, you've achieved your design goals, guys. I feel like shit now. Thanks. But yeah, I think it was kind of weird to have that as their end note. Like, I honestly think they should have put Akakiri before Lapa Ocho and ended on Lapa Ocho, but who knows? They I don't know how Disney decided who goes in what order,
No, me neither.
Yeah, so there is apparently a tie-in novel for Ronin coming out that explains the backstory, which doesn't make any sense. I mean, mostly with the aesthetics. Apparently, the idea is that Ronin is sent sometime in, like, super distant past, and, like, or possibly even an alternate continuity where, like, the Jedi were on top, and they were kind of part of a benevolent pre-Republic, like, Imperial period, and the Sith were kind of, like, hunted down like dogs kind of a thing. This is definitely a recurring theme that I think that Visions tapped into, which is... I mean, like, some people don't like it. Some people are actually kind of like, man, I really wish we'd get over this Jedi-Sith conflict. But for me, it's like, no. That's the central crux. Like, this is part of the setting, is this cycle. Light and dark constantly fighting each other, Yeah. And Visions is set all throughout this timeline of these different points. Like, there are times when the Jedi are dominant, in, like, the Elder. The Jedi Order is established. They go to the Outer Rim, and they're like, oh, wow, a dark guy. We haven't heard from those guys in forever. And then you get to, like, straight up post-Order 66 stories or Rebellion-era stories to, like, the distant future where, like, damn, dude, are Jedi even, we don't know where lightsabers come from kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And everywhere in between. And I think it's really interesting to kind of, like, go through this cycle. And, like, yes, it can be sad that there's kind of this cycle, but I also think it makes sense with the themes, right?
Yeah, no, like I appreciate Star Wars Vision for not just being all for actually giving like the Sith some sort of sway. I guess I want to say the word is, and to show like how they actually are. They're not just you know, I'm gonna swing my big red sword and be scary. It's like no, they can do like subtle manipulations. They can get to people. You know.
Yeah, we see several Darksiders of all types, and we see them as all characters, and not all of them. Like in the Ninth Jedi, like those guys, they're you know Sith acolytes, right? They're trained killers of Jedi, but they also like have camaraderie. Like when they get injured or get in trouble, they kind of like rely on each other. You know. The main guy who does most of the talking, like when the token woman, who's kind of like a very nice design, kind of some kind of dark-skinned, almost elfish alien. I think a lot of people think she's Pantoran because she's kind of blue. But like when she goes down, like he's like, oh no, and that like gets him into the fight to fight harder, and he kind of 1v1s the Margrave. Like you know, they have these kind of different relationships. Some of them are very like the Inquisitor and Toby is all brute force, right? Like he is a literal Dark Vader SB. Then we have like the twins where like, yeah, Am is wearing her, you know, super spooky armor and she's serious and she's like really over the top and emotive. And there's kind of like familial conflict. And she's even like, hey, Car, because you're my brother, I'm not going to kill you. Just give me the rock. And Car's like, I'm not going to give you the rock. If you give the rock, you're going to die. And she's like, I don't care about that. Give me the rock. I want the rock. You're like, whoop. All right, gotta give her the rock.
Give me the shiny.
You know, and you do get these kinds of stories which are not even about this conflict directly. Like Tatooine Rhapsody is like it's an Edge of the Empire. It's a scum story. You know, that kid's a Padawan survivor who took Entertainer. He's perfectly normal. Same with Village Bride, right? Like there's echoes of the previous war. Like the bandit guy is literally using surplus separatist droids who only sound slightly more competent in Japanese.
No, I like the Japanese droid voices were kind of great. I kind of love them.
Yeah. But like it's not a direct conflict. Like the Empire doesn't even show up. But it's more like we're afraid that they will show up. You know. So there's a lot of really interesting stuff. I think Visions is probably the most creative and arguably ambitious thing I think Disney has done with the franchise since they took it over.
Yeah. I hear a lot of people are saying. Yeah.
So like we have our own opinions about the sequel trilogy. Last week there was a very famous moment where somebody interviewed Marsha Lucas, George Lucas's ex-wife. She was the editor for the original Star Wars trilogy, and a lot of people credit her for kind of, especially with A New Hope, bringing it together. And she, I mean, I would say she slammed the sequel trilogy, but she was definitely like, yeah, they showed me this stuff, and I just didn't like it. I didn't think they had the heart right. Like she asked the question of like, okay, so raise this girl, where she got Jedi powers, where did they come from? You don't explain it at all. She just kind of exists, which is like, I don't think Rey is a Mary Sue. I do think in the original movie, it is kind of a problem of just like she just kind of exists for the sake of the story.
Yeah, because with the original, you can definitely say, you know, because Luke is his father's son.
Yes,
you know, so.
and like it's a whole thing that Luke like he wants to get out there, but he is suppressed by his uncle because his uncle is like, I'm afraid he's going to be like his dad. Like he has a legacy. At least for like the first two, until J.J. Abrams decides to retcon both Rian Johnson and himself in the third one and be like, yo, you're actually a Palpatine, which I gotta be real, that's cliche. I like that way better though. That's a really interesting comparison to like a coda point on kind of the trilogy. God, I just wish the sequel trilogy had a concise sense of direction the whole time. But the ex-Mrs. Lucas was also like, she was like, yeah, I saw that they killed Han Solo in the first one. I was just like, that's not Star Wars. And with Luke, like I don't want to say she's the end-all be-all opinion, but I do think she had some pretty on-point criticisms about kind of like how the sequel trilogy was handled. And like it or leave it, it's definitely divisive, and I don't know if it's as impactful as some of these other ideas, right?
Right.
Like I said before, I'm honestly not averse to some of the ideas and plot beats that Johnson had in The Last Jedi. I just don't think The Last Jedi was a very good movie, too. It needed to be like movie 1 or 3, but its ending is like really shitty for the second act. That's like, this is where all your conflict's supposed to be in to build to the big finish. But really, what just happens is like, well, there's a lot of conflict, and then I guess we just reset everything to 0. Everybody just kind of like dies and moves on, and we're just a ramshackle group of like nobodies again. I think it went a little too hard to like deconstruct everything and separate itself. Like I know Rian Johnson's a good filmmaker. I think he had some weird ideas in his head and some weird, personal stuff to work out making a Star Wars movie that maybe was not the best idea for a mainline Star Wars movie. Buddy, pal,
Chief.
You got a little artsy and deep, and you're like talking about your personal story and being like, hey, I had a really complex relationship with my father, so I've transferred that to Luke Skywalker. And I'm like, all right, buddy, that's not what this is about. Okay? It's not real. This is like archetypal storytelling. Don't get too deep in it. Like, I think some of his ideas were cool, but like I said, I think Visions was very, very ambitious and open-ended, and like, Star Wars is actually going in really interesting places. I haven't watched The Bad Batch, but I need to watch it sometime. But like, they're continuing on some of their other continuity stuff. The Mandalorian is really great. They've cracked into live action TV with Star Wars, which is something I know George Lucas always wanted to do. And The Mandalorian's really good. And I think it benefits from being a slightly smaller scale story. We're gonna do the special for whatchamacallit. They're going to do like some short run stuff of the Book of Boba Fett, they call it. I'm going to bring some Boba action back. There's some stuff here going on. It's in a good place. I will say it was a little weird. There were some people in our Discord who were like, man, this is what Star Wars can be like if it's not trying to be woke. And I'm like, wow, guys. First of all, spoilers for the audience at home. Star Wars has always been woke, actually. If you didn't realize this, George Lucas was a filmmaker in the late 70s, so there's a lot of commentary about Vietnam and politics, especially Nixon-era corruption in the original Star Wars trilogy. In addition to also, the bad guys, like I said, being heavily influenced by the Axis powers. Like, Star Wars has never not been, democracy good, totalitarianism bad. I think that maybe Disney did not understand how to conceptualize some of that stuff for who they like got to do the filming and the directing and stuff. And I mean, like, like I said, I don't know if it's going to say these, like, some of the characters in these shorts are like, oh, that's Rey done right. Like some people will. I'm like I'm not like I said, not as fussed about Rey's character as some people are, but like, there are strong female leads in these anime shorts. And they're, well-written, rounded characters who have, like, full motivations and backstories and arcs and stuff in these shorts. So, like, this goes back to something we talked about yesterday on, or technically it came out public today, on Let's Talk, right? Like, authors, artists, stretch your legs a little.
Yeah.
You can do more than you think you can. Like, just a little bit of creativity goes a long way.
Actually, I'm surprised. I've been looking at the comments, like the few that we've gotten. So it's like, no, look, I get your point. I'm like, I appreciate that, people.
Well, I think, and I tried to make sure to go through an effort of like, but we both said, first of all, one, just because we don't like something doesn't mean you can't like it. Like, don't feel also other way too. If you don't like Visions, don't feel obligated to feel bad because we liked it.
Yeah.
But we did. We liked it. It was cool. And it's the reverse. If there's something we don't like if you don't like that I'm a little harsh on the sequel trilogy, if you loved it, hey, that's your opinion. I know a lot of people who do really like some stuff. I some of those things did not necessarily resonate with me. And also, I understand because I think the movie I liked best out of them was Rise of Skywalker because it was so balls to the wall. It was just all over the place, and it was like 2 movies jammed into one. But I'm like, you know what? I've stopped caring. Fucking Chief Palpatine's back. We're doing some weird shit with, like, the Force linkage and transferring objects and fucking scenes. Like I said, I got a little teary-eyed when Rey, like, when Luke's ghost gives Rey his X-wing out of the water. I'm like, oh, that's a great callback. And like I said, in the sequel trilogy, there's some great cinematic shots. Beautiful cinematography. There's a certain visual style to Star Wars that's very much. But yeah, so like I'm glad about Visions. It's good. Like I said, there's apparently like Disney is in talks to maybe do a second round. And explicitly, apparently in some of the behind-the-scenes stuff, the crew of the Ninth Jedi is like, they've said they're straight up ready to continue their story. So I hope Disney sees all this like public acclaim and the awards they're probably gonna win, and is like, fuck yeah, greenlight that. I'm not necessarily sure how you'd market that. Would you probably call the series the Ninth Jedi to like keep the recognition? I don't know, but I'm up for that. Let's down. Like I said, I love that short. That's great.
Honestly, I would just like change it to 9 Jedi.
That might be a good way to do it. Yeah. Like there's.
Because then the episode could literally just be called, the first episode could literally just be called The Ninth Jedi.
Yeah. And explains, why, what 9 Jedi means and all that stuff again, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And work from there. That'd be good, yes. Let's see. Overall, is there anything else to say, like, overall about Visions?
I want more.
Oh, yeah, no. like, once again, not even necessarily sequels to all this stuff. They're just, like, straight up give me a season 2, Disney.
Just get some more fucking anime studios. Be like, hey, you want to make some shit? Like,
yeah, just let them, cause
like God, like give me something from fucking Mappa, give me something from Shaft, like there's a bunch of studios out there that just like have their own like
let the Gundam guys make a Star Wars short.
Oh my God,
please. It doesn't even have to be mecha, but just like, God, can you imagine like. Give that studio like a short about like starfighter pilots for like 20 minutes. Holy shit!
Yeah, I was about to say yes, Sunrise.
Sunrise. Make some shorts about like Visions was this first season of Visions was very lightsaber guy heavy.
Mm-hmm.
The lightsaber is the katana kind of a thing, and I love that. But there's also a lot more to be told there, and we even saw it with some of the smaller ones, right? Like Tatooine Rhapsody was, yeah, one of the characters was a Jedi, but his lightsaber's literally broken. And so I think there's some room there for some interesting, work on like other areas. That one was about like music, like you could do like pod racing stuff, get some Space Hero beat in there. Yeah. I know there's some action anime with some really good gunplay, like that could be really interesting. You could do a lot with studios, and I'm sure a lot of studios would be very interested in this project, especially after it's been so well received.
Oh yeah.
So we talked about how like Kamikaze Doga, who does the JoJo openings and endings, did the duel. What if you got like David Production, the regular ass JoJo studio, to do a Star Wars? Everybody's super buff Star Wars.
Like again, I want to see the kind of stories that these studios would tell.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
well, and I think it's the move of like stretching the creative legs. Let's be real. I think this is a legit complaint about the sequel trilogy. Disney didn't stretch its legs. Lucasfilm didn't stretch their legs.
It's like they're trying to reinvent the first trilogy for some odd reason.
Yeah, and in the end, when they kind of build it as the Skywalker saga, I kind of understand what they were going for. They were trying to make like actual sequels and like tie it all together. I think they didn't really mean it that way when they started with Force Awakens. Like I said, the concept art for Force Awakens is way more cool and adventurous than the final turned out to be. Like, Jakku was originally an ocean planet filled with sunken Death Star debris, which kind of came back in Rise of Skywalker for some of the good set pieces. Like I said, at one point, Rey got in an X-wing and attacked a Star Destroyer with the lightsaber, cutting it up like all over. Like, the way more interesting stuff in a lot of this concept art than that actually got used on screen. And that's the thing. Like, Visions is just that. It's just like, get some creative minds together, do some fucking jam out stuff, and like, all right, we've got some ideas on the storyboard. Let's put this to motion. Damn, dude. Yeah, go for it. And this is another thing, like, I'm also hoping that I know Disney is already, like, they like, paid out the contract with EA to get Star Wars back to everybody, and they're spreading it out. But, like, I do also straight up hope this means that, like, Disney and Lucasfilm Games will be opening to working with Eastern video game studios. Because, like, Star Wars Squadron is pretty good. I bet if you gave the Ace Combat guys the Star Wars license, you would get something pretty cracked. Fallen Order was pretty good. What if you let Platinum Games do a Star Wars action game? Like get out there. We're remaking KOTOR, so we're not opposed to RPG. Like,
man, what would a Star Wars JRPG be like? Jesus.
Oh god, there's a lot though. There's a lot of examples of that. Once again, there's so many influences. Like, there's so many thematic calls to Star Wars and Final Fantasy 12. Like, it's very funny how, like I said, like Star Wars is such a cultural touchstone in Japan. You can catch the references. Fucking every Final Fantasy has Biggs and Wedge in it. You know?
That's true. Yes.
Like it's. I bet Square Enix would love to actually get a crack at this somehow. Like, and Visions has already opened up the door to, like, hey, we can make shit that's not necessarily in continuity. It's just like a creative work. Go for it, you know?
Yeah, no, like, I think Square Enix could probably do something good. They wouldn't probably make, like, maybe a full-on JRPG, but they could probably do some good action adventure.
I mean, I know Nomura's booked until the end of time, but, like, everybody joked when Disney bought Lucasfilm that Star Wars would come to Kingdom Hearts. Not that Star Wars, there's not already some Star Wars stuff in Kingdom Hearts, but like that's like that would be something, you know? Oh yeah, like Arc Sys, like 2D fighting games. There's some Star Wars fighting games that are janky but memorable, like Masters of Terraskazi. That would be pretty interesting. I think I remember hearing of Project Lumen. I don't think I've played it. No. Is that on the PC? I'm not good at the flight simulators on the PC. I need a controller. I know, I'm a scrub. Alright, so they ever gonna actually that reminds me, is Ace Combat ever gonna announce AC8? I'm subbed to the Ace Combat YouTube channel. They have streams because it's an anniversary year. Mostly they just talk about the fucking sick DLC for AC7 with more fighter planes that I love. Anyway.
I've been seeing a lot of Ace Combat games on the PS2 over my job. I keep thinking, it's like, should I play Ace Combat? I don't fucking know.
I don't know. I don't think Ace Combat's for everybody. Like, they're known for some interesting tropes of, like, literally their setting called Strange Real, right? Like, being the like, Earth but flipped. There's a lot of continuity porn to Ace Combat that not even I understand all of it, because I've only played, like, a little bit of the games. But, like, it's full of just love for airplanes and fun flying, like, tropes. Like, I think almost every Ace Combat game has you fly through a tunnel, for instance. You know, there's a lot of interesting, enemy Ace archetypes. Lots of giant super weapons, which you usually have to destroy. Flying aircraft carriers. Oh, like, it's pretty fun and over the top. Wacky and wild weapon systems are pretty common, too. Like, you go from, like, normal-ass homing missiles and, like, long-range radar homers to, like, yes, I have a railgun bolted to my plane, or my plane shoots lasers instead of machine gun bullets. Okay, all right.
This is where we at.
Hey, I have the title in AC7 multiplayer for getting a non-zero number of... I got the title award for killing people with the laser in multiplayer. I think it's called... is it Light of the Lake or something? Yeah. But like, the laser's scary, and like I said, I've dabbed on people in multiplayer with that, which is pretty impressive. You know, multiplayer is usually pretty slappy. I'm not. I mean, I don't. There's only so good you can be at Ace Combat in multiplayer. You just have to be able to turn hard enough to dodge missiles, but you can't dodge lasers.
Two more up.
But yeah, no. Star Wars is in a good place. Loved Visions. Really good work. Very goo. Want a second season with more studios, and like I said, would like that follow-up series with Night Jedi. It would be cool.
Okay.
Lucky's building a giant tower next to his house, or onto his house.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to make a giant tree.
Hey, that's cool. Big tree.
Big.
If you build enough of the big tree, do you automatically make yourself a big tree biome? Probably.
Maybe.
That is kind of how Terraria works. Like, you can make your own underground biome stuff, for instance.
Mm. Yeah, so let's have Clamp do a fucking Star Wars short. I saw someone said do a Code Geass. I'll be like, yes. Clamp character designs. Everyone has legs for days.
Everybody's so tall. But all right, I think that means then we could probably move on to close out with a little bit of talk about our own Star Wars thing.
Yeah.
We gaming. So we had a decently long. Let me see.
Decently.
Pretty long. Let me check the final time. I mean, sometimes we have short episodes. This was a longer one. Where's my video?
All right, let's see.
Let's see. Let me scroll down to the total time here.
How do I want to do this? How do I want to do this?
Keeping in mind that my version of the time is the edited audio where I, compressed it. All right, so after editing, the audio is... Hold on, just had it. Show it to me again. Come on, you. Four hours, 23 minutes, 31 seconds. An actual playtime that's closer to 5 hours. Because audio editing, I truncate silence and cut out random noise, so it's tighter in the audio version. An incentive for patrons at the $1 and up level. I mean, I don't actually think it's a chain of mistakes, Axe, but there's some interesting things going on. So this one was chunky because I wanted to wrap up the primary story of our adventure in one sesh, and was fairly confident that we could do it, and we did do it. You guys are going to go back to do the epilogue, and also the usual post game carnage thing, because you guys are probably going to want to take some naps before you go punch bandits and pirates and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think you guys got decently slapped between a couple of big fights. Need some healing. Need healing over here. But so I think our primary set piece was, we talked about this last week. You guys went to the giant's graveyard.
Yep.
Which was full of giant animal carcasses, and it was kind of interesting, and an audience may find this amusing. Like in classic storytelling fashion, like in character, you were adamant, giant monsters aren't real. They're just fossils. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Even though out of character, I was very explicit, like, oh no, there'll be some giant monster encounters.
Mm-hmm.
And you were like, nah, let's just do the fastest. And I did deliberately design it this way. There was a literal fast and easy, but absolutely going to be a fight path. And then there was a really long, adding quite a bit of time overall to your time frame, which would have been safer. There still would have been an encounter, but I think it would have been even more manageable than the one you had was. And entirely possible that you guys would have just driven away.
Mm-hmm.
But you were like, nah, as the crow flies. As the kaiju digs through the earth. Wise. And so, yeah, we had the kaiju fight. Overall, I kind of liked how the encounter design came out. I got to do, I think, all of its fun things, or at least attempt them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, some of them didn't land, of course, because dice were involved. And, boy, howdy, the dice did not like that encounter.
No, they did not.
It was a little chaotic. And like I said, straight up, some of the elements I took for rules were taken from other giant mobs that exist in the rules, either some decently playtested fan-made content or straight up entries in the actual books, because it's Star Wars. There's some giant monsters in them. It's another thing that could show up in a Vision short, some giant monster shit. So the rule, there was not a lack of mechanical basis for some of my ideas, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the dice were not cooperative. Like the double triumph thing, that's straight up a rule for an adult crate dragon in the actual RPG somewhere. I think it's in... Is it in the Tatooine? It's probably in the Tatooine section of the Hut Space book or something. But yeah, there's some bits and bobs that we could rely on. But the dice were just not giving you the stuff.
Nope.
So we got a little weird. I do think if there was one thing I'm not 100% happy with how it turned out is I don't think I quite tuned the sandworm, the giant monsters, its weapons quite right.
Really?
What I wanted one weapon that was dangerous to your vehicle, and I think I wanted the idea that it wasn't wanted to go with the idea that it wasn't dangerous to the PCs as much. What I should have just gone ham and there's one attack that's dangerous to your ship, and if you guys get hit by it, you're fucking done. But I won't hit you with it because that's not what it's for.
Yeah.
There was one attack that was supposed to be dangerous to both your ship and to you guys. That's the one it used the most. It's Bite. I think that worked. Like, it's heavy levels of breach, but it's kind of median amount of damage means that it could do a decent amount to actually, like, score some hits. And then its last weapon was not dangerous at all. Excuse me, a little dry. Was not dangerous at all to you guys, but or not to your vehicle, but was decently dangerous to you. That was its tail club that had, like, concussive and stuff and an okay damage pool, you know? Hold on a second. Chew some gum.
You chewing that gum?
Gonna loosen up my throat.
That's wood.
I'm fairly certain that with audio editing, you guys will not hear me chewing.
No, we do hear your mouth full of gum though.
Yeah, there's gum in there.
You're gum in there.
That'll go ways. I set it up, but I'm you know, sufficiently moist in here. I'm ready to speak again.
He's ready.
So, I the way it worked out was there was one attack that would fucking murder you guys, but still wasn't good enough to scratch your vehicle that much unless I was trying. It did do the one thing I wanted it to do, which I was able to activate Tractor and basically restrain your vehicle. Well, indefinitely because none of the player characters wanted to try and get out, but well, yeah, that's just how it be.
Yeah.
That part worked, but yeah, I think like my threat assessment did not quite shake out the way I wanted it to. But that was really my only thing from my end. And I talked about this even in the episode. Like, absolutely, if the players had just, and I should say the other players, and I'll explain why I say the other players. If the other players had just stuck to their guns, their literal guns, and like powered through shooting in vehicle mode, that fight would have been over a lot faster. It probably would have been more disappointing and less iconic. Less chances for character building, but it would have been easier.
Mm-hmm.
But we did not do that. And why I say the other characters and why we ended up not doing that is because there's one person in this scenario who would be left out. He's right over there. Say hi, Lucky.
Hi.
Yeah. You, I think, are the only character who is not spec'd for anything vehicular other than that you can take some strain. You can spend resources to make your one of your in-person buff powers work at planetary scale.
Yes.
That's about it.
I mean,
like, you can do some of the actions to, like, yell at people to be better at shooting and stuff, but, like, you don't really have a lot of interactions with the vehicle scale.
No, like, literally Battle Med lets me, I can make everyone else even better, but I am literally just sitting there, just twiddling my thumbs, being like, are we done yet?
Yeah. So, like, obviously, there's incentive for you to get out there and engage with the threat hand-to-hand. And I said this multiple times in the episode. It is possible to resolve this either way.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's a little bit of confusion. Axe, you know you have this problem. Axe assumes sometimes. He assumes that a thing is away, and for some reason, I don't know if it's just a personality thing or if he has bad experience with previous game masters in games. I know he's done some like classic dungeon crawly stuff that sometimes is kind of frustrating. Where Axe forgets or just doesn't think to just fucking ask me for clarification, even though I'm right here. Open communication, guys. It's very important. This is the thing we say a lot when we talk about tabletops. But, like, he said later, he was like, oh, I just, for some reason, assumed when you said it was, when the words that came out of my mouth, not speaking as Axe, were, you guys can approach this problem either way. It was like, oh, well, Lucky's going to charge out there and punch it, so the only way we can approach it is on foot. And that kind of got everybody into the on-foot clusterfuck. Which was definitely the more clusterfucky way to do that fight.
Yes.
Straight up. I had some options. I had some stuff that only worked at personal scale. Like I said, the dice hated your guts.
It's 10.
And in general, I think, and I'll say this, Lucky, you have your moments as well, but you're usually pretty good at being adaptive.
Yeah.
The other players sometimes have this issue. Yes, I will call all of you out. You're all in chat right now. Sometimes you guys have this problem where you are completely 100% confident in your move. Like, I was thinking, at first I was like, Axe does this, but no, all of them do this sometimes. And even, like I said, even Lucky sometimes is like, I am perfectly confident that my plan will work. I'll do it. The dice will be fine. And then the dice are not fine. And, like I said, Lucky, you will usually go, that didn't work. What will work? the other players are sometimes just like, oh no, it didn't work. What do I do? And then it's usually either existential, I don't know what to do, or it's, well, I'll keep trying it again until the dice work because I'm supposed to be good at this. That's kind of why I think this combat dragged on a little long. Marth and Axe are playing DPS characters, and like for Axe, it's like sometimes I wonder, Axe, if you don't think that I learned from our 85 sessions where you're like, I'll do the thing I do where I shoot him really hard. It'll definitely work. The subtext there is Omega has in no way prepared for this after 85 sessions of me doing the exact same thing. Well, no, I prepared. So, but sometimes it's just the dice just didn't like you. It happens to everybody. So the combat got pretty long and drawn out. I think it took us like 2 hours to resolve it.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe an hour and a half. It was like around the 2 hour mark, like halfway through the session, we were like, okay, all right, we're getting out of here. We have lots of wit. Maybe we still haven't broke you of your habit enough of just trying stuff, you know? But you can do whatever the fuck you want. You can roll dice. Green dice aren't bad. And I mean, I think you had some interesting dynamic plans where you were like, hey, wait, what if I fly into it and just drop all my bombs? And we didn't get to that point because it became very crowded inside the monster at one point. When I shared that while that was a dangerous thing that was meant to be kind of like an extra danger, it was also a way to like get ahead a little. Like the idea was if it used its swallow whole ability, Belly of the Beast, was basically you have kind of a like dynamic choice. Where like you can be like, oh shit, I'm gonna die, I have to get out of here, or you can be like, this is like the one place I can really fuck this guy up. I will do that while I'm slowly dying. And instead, Lucky was just like, I'm going to cut out the middleman, and I'm just going to go straight to fucking his shit up. And again, this is why I say we're not all perfect, because you've done this several times, Lucky. When the encounter starts to drag on, you're finally like, wait a fucking minute. I literally have influence. I bought these pips and influence for this purpose. Yeah, I should have just told him to go away. And I'm like, yeah, that would, like, I'll be real. If you had immediately realized you could have resolved this peacefully with space magic, that would also have been almost as bad as if you guys had just all shot it with giant laser guns.
Yes.
Like, it would have been over immediately. It wouldn't have been very dynamic. So I'm kind of glad you didn't realize it right away. But it was a little bit of the classic thing of like, oh, shit, I've completely forgotten a thing I can do.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, I think all of you honestly should, like... I think in the past, sometimes we coordinated a little bit more. Like I said, I feel like sometimes you guys are a little too secure in that, like, your dice pools are just godly and you'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Like... There was a lack of coordination, and not necessarily an inappropriate in-character lack of coordination. Like, hey, guys, Arma's inside the fucking monster. How is she going to give you orders and advice? She can't see you right now, let alone speak to you, you know? But I guess I feel like with this conflict, I was thinking about this. Sometimes I feel like I don't know if I'm like doing my job too well, where like I get these really strong emotional responses from you guys, both as players and characters, of like, holy shit, giant monster, what do we do? And then I feel like sometimes, like, the players don't want to, like, stop and plan out in, like, the meta. Like, some of these are meant to be a little more tactical, and you guys usually, like, play it from the heart of, like, oh, no, what do we do? Oh, my God, my bullets don't work. What do we do? I don't know. Could you guys, like, stop and think about it? Like, there was, like, almost like a weird impatient patience. Like the game, the fight was dragging on longer and longer, and the players were like, shit, we got to deal with this right the fuck now. But also, it was like there was a way to, like, exploit the monster's weaknesses and, like, do shitloads of damage to it, right? And that was by making a called shot. And, like, you still needed a triumph to do it because it's supposed to be really hard to do. But, like, the dice pools were pretty rough. And a lot of the players were like, all right, I'll prep that called shot and I'll attack immediately, even though that's when it's at its hardest. Like, if everybody had just kind of, like, slowed down and, like, thought about their action economy a little, you guys could have, like, set that up a little longer and got to it. Like I said, Lucky found his own solution, which was just get, eat, punch monster. You fucked this shit up pretty good. It was a pretty high crit you had him take before you were like, all right, everybody else is freaking out and dying. What if I just tell this guy to like, spit me out? You know? Like, And I resolved it like right then and there because I was in my mind. I was like, okay, this guy's got the bleeding out crit. He's pretty fucked up. He's taken actually a couple of crits. Like he got like head ringer or something. So his like cunning and int checks are hurt. He's taken like over a third of his wound. You know. Okay, Axe. But here, follow me on this. Why would you get absolutely crushed if you waited to do a called shot? See, like, this is the thing. We do fearful tactics brain, but not full tactic brain. This thing is huge. It's enormous. It was mostly attacking your vehicle until Arama literally, like, walked up next to it and tried to punch it. Then it tried to, like, eat her.
Yeah, don't you remember?
But why are you a target?
Yeah, remember, it was all about eating the ship because it was a metal and electromagnetics.
Yeah, and it attacked your ship to try and injure it and do some damage. Yeah, but that was because you immediately took a shot at it. You were like, oh, it'll be fine. I'm really good at sniping. I'll definitely hurt it. And in my mind, I'm like, he's definitely not going to hurt it. But, like, at that moment, you absolutely could have just taken 2 actions and just been like, all right, I'm just going to camp out here and aim and be cool and not draw aggro. Like, sometimes I wonder that Axe especially, but sometimes any of the players don't quite understand how I decide aggro for enemies. It's very natural. If you punch a guy, he will want to punch you back. That is a natural response for every single thing on Earth.
No, that's what
like, if you don't punch a guy so hard that you freak him out and scare him, he's going to be like, hey, you hit me. Well, that was it, right? Like, Axe, that's what I mean. You got kind of, like, scared and impatient and just led with it. And it was the same for everybody. Like, Martha's kind of just like, I'll wail on it again. I'll kind of take the called shot, but I don't want to wait around because our action economy is a little fuckle. It's interesting. Like, out of character, Loth did, like, the most useless stuff, but also in character, it was perfect. Like, Boots' motivation is family, and his duty is personnel. Boots is absolutely 100% the character who would be like, oh no, my commanding officer who leads my brothers in battle has been eaten, and I'm the medic. I'm going to go out there. Like, I'm going to stop what I'm doing and go back. Like, we talked about it. It didn't make any logical sense, but it absolutely made in-character sense for him, and that's why I gave Loth the 5 XP at the end. Like, no, that's playing your character. That's something Boots would do. It's dumb, but it made sense, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Other times I don't know. Well, I mean, Webu, I think, like, decided to face the kaiju in honorable combat also worked, but yeah, so, sometimes, you know, you guys shoot yourselves in the foot in character, and sometimes it's, I don't know if it's in character, and I don't know, like I said, if we do giant monster combat again, I think I have learned from this a little.
Everyone learns a lesson.
Yeah. I'll admit I think towards the 2-hour mark of the fight, I was not necessarily being helpful as a GM. I was like, guys, we've been here for like 2 hours. You don't know what you want to do, which I guess was not the most helpful. But also, to be fair, I'd been sitting there for 2 hours and I wasn't really doing a lot as the GM. I was mostly just fighting you guys occasionally.
No.
It was a little fucky. I like a lot better how the boss at the end of the scenario went. That one, I think, worked much better with its mechanics. That was a much more, like, measured and responsible fight. And, like, I don't want to say this. Like, some people might get the wrong impression from our kind of discussions that, like, you know, Lucky always goes tearing off to kind of, like, punch the boss himself. No. That's not always true. Like, sometimes Lucky will see a problem and be like, I'm gonna punch it. Okay, good. I planned for this. I knew you would punch this. But, like, with the boss, you fought another kind of, like, you know, Ruin Guardian. You fight a lot of those. It's a theme I like. You know, you kind of get to the end, and you were just like, no, I'm gonna stand back and do battle med this time. I've kind of been kind of in everybody's face, and maybe I've been a little pushy, and I've gotten people into trouble with my impetuousness. I'm gonna hang back and do my buffs.
Mm-hmm.
The dice didn't want you to do your buffs very well.
Nope.
You had to kind of reset a couple of times, but like, you stuck to kind of like where your character's head was at for that, and everybody else did okay. And I think the boss's abilities. The number one thing I learned is that any ability which is not hurting a player character somehow, like actively hitting their wound strain or other debuffs, just make it a fucking maneuver. Don't waste actions with that shit. Even if the game is like, still skill checks are an action. Fuck you, buddy. Enemies need action economy.
Mm-hmm.
That was the lesson I think I learned from our last couple of boss fights, was just let enemies do more maneuvers. Like, this guy could, like, regenerate as a maneuver, and I think it worked. Like, he was able to do it. He was only able to do it once a turn, so he couldn't, like, game the system. But he was able to do it enough that it kept him competitive, especially with the kind of his damage resistance abilities. You know, You can like make minions like in a flash, which could do some stuff, and I got to have some fun there. And it worked out a lot better. You guys got some loot. Be kind of interested to see how you discovered that. So I kind of would like to, you know, if you're not totally thinking about what you're going to do with that tree and those leaves that you put up and then tore down.
Listen, I love to see me play Subnautica, as I would literally tear down my entire base and rebuild it.
Yes.
But what were you saying?
I was going to ask, like, so that was kind of my thoughts on the, especially on the kaiju fight, but overall in the session, I'm very interested to hear your thoughts kind of from the player side.
So for me, like I said, I like this. I personally enjoyed the kaiju fight, except the only thing is it took way too long. I think I mentioned my gripes. Like, if you hear the ape, well, shit, did I even post it yet? I don't fucking know.
No, we haven't posted it yet. We'll probably do it on Sunday. That seems to be our usual cycle.
Yeah, but again, like I yell about this. A lot of people seem to not have an idea of what they want to do, and it irks me a lot sometimes.
Well, yeah, that's kind of like I said, that was the point where I was unhelpful as the GM, where I was like, guys, the combat's been going on for 2 hours. You don't know what you want to do yet.
It's like, because before, like, I think it was like 3 or 4 turns before I jumped in, because I was like, because like you say, like, if I see something,
yeah, I think it was on turn 3 when you decided, fuck it, I'm just gonna get inside this thing's belly and punch it that way.
Yeah, because the first turn I didn't get to do anything because I got feared.
Yeah, you were staggered.
So I literally
I think for like role playing stuff was really good. You like literally just climbed out of the hatch and looked at this thing and were like, wow, that's big.
Mm-hmm. And then turn 2, I actually got out. I gave it a punch. I see how that worked. I was like, this does not work. It tried to eat me.
Yeah.
It did not go work. I actually enjoyed that. But it's like I like literally grabbed it by the mouth and was like, no.
And Boots was even able to use his ability to kind of like skip your crit. I was like, and that's the funny thing. Like the damage scale on this is so weird. Like an attack that like Axe said, oh, if I ate one of those attacks, you know, I'd be fucking bodied. I'd be dead. I don't actually know. I mean, he's got like 20 something wounds, you know. But you were like, I'm just gonna parry, and my soak's unpierceable, so I'm gonna eat all but one of the wounds from this giant fucking monster trying to eat me.
Yeah.
And then the medic used his special ability to even cancel the really nasty crit you would have taken. And I'm like, no, yeah, this fight's fair.
Yeah, no. And so like I never did anything. And like once I got inside, it's like, oh yeah, okay, this is dangerous. And the thing I didn't mention this because it didn't become a problem, because like you said, it was dangerous environment. What, 6?
Yeah.
So I was gonna take 6 wounds, but like I said, I only spent like a couple rounds in there, so it didn't become a problem. But I wasn't necessarily sure on how I was to escape it. Like if there wasn't.
I think I mentioned it, but it might have been lost.
Yeah.
There was. It was like it was kind of like normal being immobilized, but it was more like being a grapple. You would have to have opposed its resilience pool. No, probably its athletics pool, because I think its athletics pool was smaller. Like yeah, you would have had to have rolled to like resist it, which for you would have been a skill check you were really, really good at.
Yeah. So, but like I was in there, I was like, all right, I'm gonna do some stuff, and there were some options. I was like, okay, cool. I was a little upset that I was not able to do the one-shot kill like I did before, but you know that's how the dice work. That's how I gave it bleeding out. But like I said, like again, yes, I am kind of calling you guys out, but you guys don't really have like once you get guys that get outside your element, you guys become fuck all. You really do. Like you like the players were like entirely insistent on doing this one thing that they can do, even when though their one thing couldn't do, and there's other options available. And that was fraying on my nerves. That was really fraying on my nerves. I'm like, guys, just do the co-op.
Yeah, like I said, Lucky, I know you will absolutely be like, I can do this, I'm fine. And then you're like, oh no, that didn't work. But like I said, you're usually very good at being adaptable.
Yeah, no, I'll move on to like with this fight.
Literally, you punch the thing in the side, and you didn't quite do enough damage to hurt it. So I was like, all right, you bonk your hand on its side, and you're like, well, okay.
So
that won't work.
I move on to the next thing.
What will I do next? And then, we suggest that I threw out that it was going to try and eat you, and that had special rules, and you're like, hey, I'm holding this thing by its teeth. Can I just fucking jump in? I'm like, yeah, I guess. Make a check. Roll some dice. Well, okay. This is the thing. I hope the players, you don't interpret this. That's not me saying not to do that. That like there you go, X. You just admitted it was a you thing. So yes, you guys like once Arama got 8, and like there was some consideration about just getting back on like the missile launchers and fucking this thing shit up. I was like, okay, listen, I don't want to say don't do it, but I am absolutely not gonna let you get a free pass to shoot giant fucking missiles at a monster. That is literally eaten one of the player characters. Like, now you guys should know after 85 sessions, I'm not a killer GM. I'm not gonna have you literally murder Arama because you want to end the encounter faster. But like, I'm not necessarily gonna give Arama a good time being in a monster being blown up by missiles designed to, you know, blow up tanks and shit. Okay, that's just like that's just my usual thing. I like to remind the players of the consequences. I want to be like, okay. You can attempt this, but there is a risk in these rules associated with this. I'm not going to give you a free pass. Consider your options. And like, this is, I think, the difference between some of the back and forth. Lucky, I know you would absolutely hear that, and if you thought the fight needed to end, you would be like, fuck it, they'll be fine. Mm-hmm. Like, you would shoot the missiles. Mm-hmm. I mean, in this character, you probably wouldn't because you're not good at it, but that's what I mean. Like, if one of the other player characters was eaten and the combat was going really bad and there was a chance to end it, but it presented a risk to the other player character, you would be like, this risk is acceptable. Throw the switch. And that's like, sometimes I know that causes I don't want to say conflict, but tension with the group. Mm-hmm. That like, you are absolutely not afraid to take those risks for other people. But I also, like I said, I think that lends you to being a very solid, proactive player. You are very good at being like, okay, what do I do in this situation that's different? Because like, to me, part of the job of being the GM is like forcing your players to flex their muscles a little, flex their creativity. Mm-hmm. Like, I would think I was being a bad GM if literally every problem you could solve by just doing the same thing over and over again. Like honestly, there are quite a few problems, and you should expect a decent number of them that like Arama can't solve by just punching people. You know?
I couldn't solve this kaiju problem by punching it. I tried.
No, not quite. Like, maybe if you'd been able to do the thing from the beginning, it would have been fine. Or if the other players had been coordinated. But yeah, it was a little weird. He was a big beefy boy, but like I don't. Maybe I didn't sell it hard enough to like Axe and Loft. Like, how much fucking damage? Like, this thing had like, I think like 80 wounds. Loft did like 30 of them right away because it was still obeying the like vehicle planetary split. Like, I was trying to be explicit with where my mechanics were.
I do like how you went out of your way. It's like, no, I'm shutting this fucking gun down. Because honestly,
I was like, the gun's a little bullshit.
Because honestly,
and that's kind of why the enemy had to be quite so tough, because I needed it to survive long enough to start doing things that it could like make the combat tense, you know. Mm-hmm. And that meant that if you went on too long with Boots just shooting, it would be like, well, this is going to be over fast. Like, I was genuinely, when he fired that shot, I'm like crossing my fingers. I'm like, just don't fuck me. Come on. Give me enough to work with. Oh, thank God. Okay. The encounter goes on. Right? Like, I was like, man, if Boots gets a shitload of successes, the combat's over. So, yeah, like... And ultimately, that was kind of the weirdness of designing, like, a creature fight at vehicle scale a little bit. Mm-hmm. It's unfortunate the rules are not really good at that, even though they should be, because that's absolutely a fucking thing that happens on screen. But whatever. I didn't write the rules. And I think in future, I'm definitely going to, like, I talked about this for some future Genesis stuff. I may just steal that special rule of, like, whatchamacallit, like I don't even remember what the quality was, but like I talked about how I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago.
Was it like destructive
I saw somebody
or
make a 40k hack. Yeah, destructive I think is what he called it, where it's like the destructive quality weapons, like when you're attacking a planetary scale, like a vehicle thing, it does, you know, +10 per success instead of +1. But when you're attacking a human, it's just +1. So like this thing could have had its damage like appropriately scaled to a vehicle versus scaling to, like, I'm like, I'm kind of sad that I didn't discover that rule until after I'd already done this stuff, because that would have been, like, good. Well, Axe, this is what I mean, though. Like, that's the thing. I had all the rules, and I was saying them, but you guys either weren't understanding me or just kind of, like, not asking for clarification. Like, that's the thing. You can always just fucking ask. Full-blown, if you have to, like, all right, time out, hold on, I'm confused.
Axe, again, there was 2 whole turns before I got inside that monster. Well,
and this is what I mean. Like, Axe does assume. This is the joke about making an ass out of you. Like, Axe was just like, oh well, Lucky's gone out there, so that's just it. Like that didn't have to be it. And like, and hey, I'll be real. You know what? If you guys are gonna let combats be frustrating because you think that Lucky will yell at you in character or out of character for blowing up a boss, that's your problem. You got to deal with that. That's not required though. That's entirely a social construct. That's not a rules thing.
Like, honestly, if I start getting pissy at you guys for fucking not playing the game how I want to play, I'm pretty sure Meg is gonna yell at me.
Yeah, probably. Like if you get it really really annoying. Like most of the time when you're like oh, you got shot in the back in character, you're like, guys, what did we say about friendly fire? Like, cause it's come up before. It's a point.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, out of character, I don't think that you, Lucky, would let the friendly fire rule stop you from being like, well, shit, we need to stop this conflict because, I don't know, we might all die either way, you know?
I think I've done plenty of times. It was all like, I've been in combat. It's all like, yeah, but we got the grades. I've just been like, I think every time I'm just like, go for it. I think I literally say it every time, just go for it.
Out of character, you're very open. Like, you're straight up like, I mean, Arama's not going to be happy, but fucking do it.
Yeah.
You know? And that's kind of how it goes, is like I said, I feel like we have these weird... Combat is always this way, but sometimes we get a little weird in the role-playing versus the tacticalness.
Mm-hmm.
I think I might keep that in mind for some more encountered. Like, it's just... Well, you should always be taking it as a learning experience. I took it as a learning experience. This is actually very important for a future, like, Gensekai stuff. Like, because giant monsters are an RPG standby. And I think it really taught me a lot about, like, how to handle these giant fights. Like, making enemies that are, like, really, really big HP blobs that maybe have high actions, but then playing with, like, how much soak they have and how much damage they do piercing. You know, you can kind of, like, figure that out. And it's gonna be interesting stuff. Well, actually, I don't know. Do I yell at Axe when I don't think he's being productive? That's true. I might just get surly with Axe, which is probably not productive.
I know I yell at people when they're not being productive, but here's the thing, Axe. When people yell at you for not being productive, you get super defensive and start over-explaining yourself.
Yeah, and maybe that's like the thing is like the focus is just like, you know, it should be more like, okay, come on. You know, maybe not be like, oh, you're doing the thing you thought would work again, huh? Like, okay, you know this doesn't work. Do you want to do something different? You know, kind of like try and, you know, like I said, open communication both ways. Like, I'm perfectly open with letting the players know when stuff will not be productive. And I do think some of that was just the dice were just being mean last night. You guys could not roll a fucking single triumph to save your lives in that fight. Which is so weird because I was like, oh, they'll be fine. This double triumph rule is perfectly okay. I've seen Marth roll double triumphs all the fucking time. And then you get the dice involved and it doesn't work the way you want it to work. That's my number one RPG lesson, guys. Dice, in fact, are random and will fuck you. Plan accordingly. But yeah, it's, you know, I've been GMing a while, but I definitely feel like I can work on my technique with different players. Like, you know, yeah, you did pretty good. The problem was that the problem was, Loth, you deliberately exiled yourself from the conflict, and then when it came back to you, you were like, actually, I've realized that in character it's appropriate for me to get the fuck back in the conflict. Excuse me, pardon me. I did learn a lot about how, even though you guys are super OP bullshit, the fact that some of you, for instance, don't have Swift, and the fact that none of you have the Let's Ride talent, which lets you mount or dismount vehicles for free, you guys are still really vulnerable to action economy at certain points, you know? Yeah. Which is good. I think there should be weaknesses in your structure.
Oh, yeah, no, this is like when I restructured, I actually made myself weaker at, like, vehicle stuff, because I did used to have the force power that would let me just add force dice to vehicle checks. I was like, nah, I don't need that. I'm good at looking at shit, and I'm bad at piloting shit. Those are my weaknesses.
Yeah, that makes sense, right?
Yep.
And yeah, you kind of diversified out your force powers and stuff and got into some stuff. And you may diversify in future because I gave a thing, which I think is the thing you want to latch onto, which gives you access to a different force power.
And I'm just like, yeah, no. Honestly, I've been looking...
The loot design was pretty interesting. You can tell it clearly works for specific characters, but also I did want it to be open-ended in case you guys wanted to, like, switch it around.
Oh, yeah, no, totally. Like, I really want that Mind Crystal, but I'm like, Webu, Marth also wanted it, but I was like, shit, I really want it. So I was like, all right, but I'll give you this, and you can have this. Because I have a collection of weird shit. I just realized. I'm
Sorry,
like,
you said that. It's fine.
Yeah.
Actually, just fucking up names. That's okay. We fuck up names all the time.
yes, we do.
I have this problem I've realized through doing progression. I think I've talked about it there as well. I've realized that when I'm, especially because we often hybrid like text and speech conversations, I have this weird thing where somebody will say something and then somebody else will speak, and I will try and talk to the first person. I will say the second person's name because they spoke most recently. And my brain is thinking of them, and I'm like, you know, Axe will say something and Dallas will say something, and I'll be like, nope, was talking to Axe, responded to Axe's question. Didn't mean to talk to Dallas. This is how the Axe Loth confusion comes up a lot because shockingly, Axe and Loth are both very talky. You may not think it from how we talk about them in the APs if you don't listen, but they can be very talky. Like, not like at long lengths, though. Axe does sometimes have his over-explanation problem. His personal or something. But like, Loth just loves to slip in snarky comment. He just loves to like be in there a little bit, talk a little. You're okay at like sitting down and shutting up, but you're also great at just being like, I'm gonna slip in a little comment. That'll be very interesting. Let's us talk a lot. Yeah, Rush would know. Doing that caw shit. That'll be very interesting because I'm currently. So you guys have elected to do the epilogue, the bonus content for character building and stuff.
Yeah.
And also for some possible more tchotchkes. I'm kind of glad you guys decided to do this. This will be fun. I got to play around with some other encounter stuff. You'll see some different types of enemies when you raid the Black Dawn gang base. And they'll be a little bit more like exploring possibly some sneaking and tactical stuff, but you guys will have to figure out some stuff for yourself. And like I said, you guys are probably going to want to take some naps before that. Because I do think some people got punched a little bit. But I'm working on our next bit, which is Ballroom Blitz. It's supposed to be like a literal ballroom thing. Like, you guys are all invited to a gala / fundraiser thing.
Something.
During which some important announcements are going to be made. There's going to be some political moving and shaking. And I've been doing my structural stuff. Like, the actual vignettes and stuff isn't done, and the stats, but I've done a lot of structural work this week. Like, I literally like looked up what like programs for parties are like, and like built out a time schedule. I have worked on a guest list, which I haven't shown you guys yet. I talked about cameos. Oh, Rush likes the tree. I like it too. It's a nice design.
Yeah, I'm trying.
I see you kind of like you try to expand out and then go minimal. It's nice.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to. I'm gonna put some trees, some branches, and some leaves on it. I'm just trying to work on my branch design. But I wanted to get the dryad up in here because I need to get more NPCs and stuff.
Yeah.
But like I said,
nice little. That's something I like to do in Terraria, is themed homes occasionally. Also, that's a thing. This may bother some people, but in Terraria, I am an absolute animal with decor. Where I'm just like, ooh, I found a cool new brick. I want to build a room out of this. And then I have so many towers of like different metal bricks in Terraria. Yeah, I've heard a lot of that. I definitely drew it on like birthday and wedding reception schedules. Like I said, I've been to, you know, all my siblings are married, so I've been to several weddings.
Candle.
Not a huge fan of weddings, but anyway, that's a different thing. But like I'd never really been involved structurally. This is the beautiful thing about being the baby of the family. Nobody expects you to do shit. The most I've gotten was at one of my brother's weddings. I was a groomsman, and that was pretty low key. You put on the suit. You stand around. You link arms with some people, and you know you show up to stuff. And you get to kind of chill behind the scenes sometimes. It's fine.
Maybe I should make a jacket like that. That might do it.
But like, so I designed this program to kind of give you these thoughts. And my concept for this scenario was very strongly, I wanted big blobs of unstructured time with these anchor points of structured time, right? Like, these events will happen in this sequence. And, you know, God, the shoes are awful, but that's a shoe thing.
Shoes.
Never been a shoe guy. But like the idea is that so you'll have these, you know, like I said, these blocks of open-ended time where you guys can kind of like meander and like you guys will be like, I want to meet this NPC, or who's around these NPCs. Okay, let's go talk to them. And then also stuff where like NPCs will roll up and be like, hello, I am an NPC you've never met before, or I am an NPC. Hey, do you remember you met me that one time? We did this thing. I want your help with this, and kind of solving that, like the players pushing their agendas and the NPCs pushing their agendas, kind of thing, and then have these anchor points where like, okay, enough time has passed, the next thing happens. And then during this time, there will also be other little vignettes and like crises and skill check stuff. And the beauty of the role playing and the narrative story is you guys won't know like what's a big deal and what's not a big deal. Like hypothetically, like say, oh no, this city council member has gone missing. What could have happened to him? It could be something like completely innocent.
He had a little bit too much to drink and he fell asleep in a room or something.
Yeah, he fell asleep, or he's making out with his secretary in a closet somewhere, or it could be something like bad but not dangerous, like he's doing a drug deal in the toilets, or it could be like something serious, like, oh yeah, a separatist assassin has knocked him out and is using a holographic disguise to pretend to be him so he can go shoot the mayor. Like it could be anything. So it will be like those moments of like, okay, do you treat everything as super serious? Do you let stuff relax? Like, how do you interact with these little moments of potential crisis and things?
Where's my wood wand? I need more
and
wood.
it'll be interesting because I think I will have my kind of like balance and stake setting mechanic in that you guys won't be able to keep in the main ballroom floor, you guys will not be able to keep all your weapons and gadgets and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I have explicitly set up I'm gonna try out the reputation mechanic with like boost and setback dice, kind of like as a microcosm.
Oh yeah.
So like, if you guys aren't dressed up super formally and are like, if you do things that are like faux pas or just aren't, acceptable kind of stuff, or you go whittling around doing weird stuff, you'll take some bad dice that'll affect your social checks. If you're super fashionable and cool and hip, you get bonus dice, kind of a thing.
Note to self, make you guys wear dress uniforms. They are a thing.
Yes. Oh, dress uniforms will be required for clones.
Mm-hmm.
Jedi, you're not required to do anything, but if you guys show up in like your usual getup, you might not get those.
Oh,
Can't remember. Is that a Genesis thing or is there a Star Wars? There might be an armor attachment that like.
Oh yeah, the ceremonial adornment. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so hypothetically, you guys could like remove penalties. I would say you would still like it would still set your reputation dice in the negative zone, but you could eat the penalties basically. Like, it's not fashionable, but it's not like you don't look like you don't fit in,
Actually, yeah, because I
kind of like counteract this stuff.
Armorless.
I mean, I'll say it this way. So the Jedi straight up have invites. Arama is going to the gala. That's required. That's a consequence of some stuff that was set up in the past that we never got to yet.
Mm-hmm.
You have certain political favors and capital kind of dangling out there. You got to RSVP. Whoever has an invite, I assume she will RSVP because otherwise you may be flying solo out there. So Boots is a warrant officer. He has an invite. He can choose to RSVP. Camo does not have an invite. He is not an officer. He's not commissioned. He has to be somebody's +1, or because I suspect that role-playing being at a fancy party might make either Camo explode or Axe explode out of character. You could just have Camo do the thing Axe even suggested, where he just hangs out as security. And, like, he can't bust onto the ballroom floor in all his kit, but he could carry all of his fancy guns and stuff, and also, like, have some of your weapons in his back pocket in case, or rather, when the shit hits the fan. Because something will go wrong. You'll probably have to shoot somebody or punch them. That's the other funny thing. Arma won't give a fuck about losing all of her shit. You're a martial artist. You don't care.
No, I really don't.
But that might lead to some interesting situations where, like, you run into somebody and is like, you're no threat. You don't have your lightsaber. You're fine. And you just be like, I punch the table at him. I am an airbender like my father before me.
It's just one of those things of like, you have clearly not been to this system long.
You are mistaken. So we'll get some interesting stuff in there. We'll kind of build some conflict and stuff and some back and forth. And like I said,
man,
I have been trolling through old notes. I had to like literally ask you guys if somebody had the name of the mayor, because I like didn't jot it down at first. Like, I have been trolling through my notes for old NPC names to bring back and making up some new ones.
I'm excited for this.
So we'll like I said, there'll be some cameos, there'll be some fun stuff, there'll be some returning characters, some new characters, and then some new challenges. I've had a lot of fun, like I said, with this kind of like loosey-goosey design.
Yeah,
Like I thought about like straight up doing like maps, and I was like, nah, fuck it, that's way too much pain in the ass. There's a ballroom. There's some rooms that are attached. There's some nebulous stuff in the building it's in, and we'll cover all this. Like, you guys may want to, before you show up to the venue, you might want to do your own security audit. Bring your own additional security. I don't know. And like kind of like work on those things, but I wanted to keep it very like general and free flowing.
Mm-hmm. Mine's like theater, yo.
Yeah, because like. As much as it would be on theme, it's also going to be really boring if we do like a literal structured, party program, but down the line, every minute is a count. No, that's too much pain in the ass. I've already learned my lesson about like minimalism writing. We can do loosey goosey stuff and just be like, all right, from this zone, from this time, dinner. Do you guys talk to any of at dinner? No, cool. All right, we move on.
Depends on who I'm sitting next to. I think it'd be socially impolite to yell across the table, "Hey! Hey! Hey!" Actually, should I get the ceremonial donut? I mean, my armor's really sick, yo.
That would definitely be one way to like keep your armor on. But I don't know. Like that's another thing. If those of you with invites, you have +1s, you can drag other uninvited with you. They have them thoughts and stuff, and pro tips.
Oh man, do I want to bring Europa? That'd be wild. I have to bring Europa or Skirk. One of the two.
On the one hand, Skirk would kill in like a nice, ballroom dress.
Mm-hmm.
I think something black, deep V, because she's a lizard.
Mm-hmm.
Just hanging out would be huge. On the other hand, Europa is literally a Jedi artisan, so
it's like, oh no. Like,
that one may come attached with a free makeover montage.
The struggle. Can I get a +2? I want to bring them both.
No, but you could bully the other player characters who RSVP to using their +1s.
I might do that.
I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be real. I don't think Webu or Boots know who the fuck they would bring to a ball. Gotta be honest.
I might have to bully.
Oh no, you don't gotta worry about your friend Lopak. He's already been invited.
Yeah, I'm about to say Lopak. Lopak has friends. He knows.
Lopak's already bought a plate. He's in there.
I wasn't worried about Lopak. Guys, I hope you all are enjoying me trying to figure out how to make a fucking tree. By the way,
I think it's a nice, because it seems like it's something that's relaxed enough that we can like talk while you do it, but also it's definitely like a dynamic thing, kind of going back and forth.
Like because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make several outgoing branches and put enough leaf on them that it looks full, but not so much that it covers everything, because I'm gonna use the background leaves to like fill in the back so it looks much fluffier and bigger. I'm just trying to get a good design on the trees, because they have actually like these big ass trees.
Yeah,
it's just that I don't like how they look, because they look kind of.
Well, they're much more organic looking. I think. And they're literally designed so that the top is nothing but tree branches.
Yeah, no. So I'm trying to do this weird kind of like tree house kind of thing. So I need it to be fatter, but I can't like put this big giant bush at the top. That'd take me fucking forever. So
yeah, and also you wouldn't be able to get over it. Like it would eat up all your build space.
Yeah, so
it's all about positioning and time and stuff.
So
happy little tree.
Happy little trees. I'm gonna call this tree the Bob Ross.
I mean, some of those trees are definitely Bob Ross style. They got the big plume. Yeah, I'm back to watching Bob Ross episodes to go to sleep again. By the way, my sleep schedule's still being a little weird. I'm having a hard time. I'm like tired more, so I think I'm starting to roll back around, but I'm definitely not like necessarily yet sleeping earlier. Working on it. Working on my energy levels. Get me out of there.
I messed that up.
But yeah, so I think the obviously the next session will be interesting because I've already done that. That'll be kind of a chance for you guys to flex your legs in a little bit of a different way. Possibly something hopefully lower stakes than a kaiju fight, but also still kind of interesting and dynamic. Like I don't want you guys to be unchallenged. But the ballroom thing will definitely have some interesting ideas and stuff. And like I said, earlier I was talking about like what are we doing. I absolutely pictured like Like, if he chose not to be, like, if you guys didn't want to spend a +1 on him and he was fine hanging back, it would definitely be, like voice with an internet connection type stuff. Like, he's, like, lurking in the security room watching the holocams or, like, on the balcony overlooking the ballroom talking to you guys in your little earbuds.
Mm-hmm.
Watch out. The president of the Sohaliv Sewing Association is coming your way. 9 o'clock.
He looks very eager to talk to you about clothes. It's like, okay.
She's reaching into her purse. Oh no, she's got a pamphlet. Security, take her down.
I'm sorry, this is where...
Watch out, General.
They're like, I'm sorry, I missed. There was no soliciting on the premises. But... Alright, let's just try with 3. I keep thinking I want to go to 6, but no, let's be minimum here. Let's be minimum. But, no, like, I'm excited for game. Like I said, I'm excited for the social gala because, like I said, social encounters is something that is, in my, God, over 20 years of, playing tabletop, people don't want to do it. People never want to do it. I'm like, I want to do it. It's like, I want to be social. I just want to hang out with people, talk, and maybe try to make some political connections and whatnot. But people are like, no, we got to go fight stuff.
I think it's usually because there's two confluxes here with this in game design wise. Number one, unfortunately throughout history, a number of the people writing and running tabletop games have been nerds with scruffy beards hiding in basements. They probably don't get invited to a lot of fancy dress parties, and so they don't want to think about fancy dress parties.
Yeah, but I bet
I don't like fancy dress parties, but that doesn't mean I can't write about them.
I was about to say, it's like, I'm pretty sure you've read about fancy dress parties in some form of fiction or another.
Yeah. Like, I don't mind. I'm talking about this. I have social anxiety sometimes, and I don't really like formal events and, like, all that stuff. But I can write about them without, like, having an anxiety attack. Because it's not real. It's fake. It's like why I can try to murder you guys with space wasps, even though if I saw a real wasp, I would be like, yeah.
Yeah.
Make the sign of the cross. Man, wasp. Wasp away.
Ooh, I like that the leaves blow a little bit. Let's see here. Wait, I did this wrong.
Yeah, there'll be some, it's me, there'll be some kind of Die Hard parallel. I love Die Hard.
Ooh.
But, like, the other thing is that mechanically, usually the way role-playing works is, like, a lot of social stuff gets kind of... Whoop!
I made it, though. I forgot. I have a thing that protects me from fall damage.
It's good. Otherwise, you would have barked your shins a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the other thing is just a lot of systems, when they handle social skills at all, it's usually like, okay, you make a roll. Did you succeed? Okay, he does the thing. Like, because people don't want to, for some reason, people don't want to bog down the system with as much detail for talking as they do for fighting. Possibly because, like, that's the other thing is sometimes, like, a lot of social stuff just gets rolled into role-playing. Like, can you actually make a convincing argument? And I'm okay, honestly, with, like, some of that stuff, working.
I try to do, I usually try to go in the middle for that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, and because here's the thing. I don't think it's fair, especially because players don't often have a time to pre-prep certain things. I don't think it's always fair for you to go to players and be like, hey, you've been thrust into this situation. You need to make a cohesive argument to this guy now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, you don't have any prep time, and you're not literally your character, so you don't know all the stuff they do, but you got to, like, come up with the whole fucking speech on the fly? No, people can't do that.
No.
Or if people can do that, that's a particular skill they have.
I'm pretty good at improv, but...
Which your character may or may not have, but, that's the whole thing. So usually when I adjudicate social stuff, it's just like, okay, like, give me the high... You want to talk to this guy, you want to persuade him, give me the high points of your arguments, and then I'll listen to you and be like, okay, you're making this kind of skill check, maybe like, for Star Wars, maybe like, okay, take a boost die. He wants to, go with your argument anyway. He's positively disposed. Take a boost. Or, sometimes occasionally like, he definitely doesn't like this argument, take a bad die. And like, ultimately, we're here for fun. We want to have fun. We want to have kind of a building experience. We can experience a breadth of stories.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like we need to burden the players to be like all improv theater all the time because, like you said, combat's not improv theater. You know, I know some groups who completely turn off their role-playing brain when they do combat. It's all tactical. And I honestly, I think sometimes you need to be a little tactical because that's usually how the rules are designed. But that doesn't mean you can't have fun.
Yeah.
You know, I've played a chunk of the D&D. I've seen the fair share of doing. You can be in character and also be effective in combat. But like I said, I don't feel the need to like shackle the players to one way to handle it. Like if your player knows in his brain like what his rough outline is of like, well, the evil king should let the slaves go because it's morally good, actually. Okay, that's a pretty standard plea. That might work. This is fiction. Versus like somebody being like, well, actually, due to my specific research, I've realized that this, and this character flaw, and be like, oh, yes, you have a good argument. Let's go ahead and let's do it. You know, we don't need to like deep dive on every single word. Like, for instance, I've actually blocked you out. Because I know you said you wanted to do an announcement. You're blocked out for a speech.
Yep.
You're in the program because I know you had something you wanted to say, and I'm like, oh, I will literally write this into the note. I know you would raise this point. I will not have to make myself do work later. I will pre-do the work and just be like, yeah, I know when we get to the point where this schedule gets executed, you will want to have a time slot to do your thing.
Yep, and it's there, and
I'm not expecting you to have like a fully prepared speech. You might. You're a madman.
I mean, I did write a fucking short blurb.
Yes. Yeah. But like, I know that you want this time to talk in character, and so in character time, this is scheduled. But I'm not gonna make you like imagine if like character roles were flipped and like Axe was playing your character basically. Axe would either have a very specific speech pre-planned, or he would be like, "Gosh, I don't know what the fuck to say." I know, just like, "What are your high points? What are you saying? Do this and this. Okay, make a check. All right, we're good. Thumbs up." You know, like you got to play to your character strengths, and like it's at the end. You as a player might be fucking exhausted from God knows what. Maybe you had to run over fields of glass in bare feet. You know. Maybe you had to deal with a drunk old lady being mean to everybody, and you had to throw her out of the party. God knows what you've been dealing with all night. You might just be like, okay, the high points of my speech are thus and thus. I'm going to roll some dice. Let's go. You know, you got to be flexible for the players. Because role-playing is co-op improv type stuff, you know, and you can do all this pre-planning. This is something that I think, I don't know, I feel like sometimes with maybe a little bit of our like minimalist buddy cop stuff, I've been a little lax on. It's something definitely through running this long-running Star Wars campaign I've reignited myself is you got to be flexible with this stuff. Like, don't overcommit to anything because you never know what the player is and what time will be like. Like I straight up brought up with the boss fight at the end of last session. I was like, oh yeah, this guy has parry. He could be parrying all your melee attacks. It doesn't matter. He's dying slow enough as is, you know? Like, I looked at the mechanics, I realized the insurance I programmed into this boss, and I was like, oh, it turns out I didn't need it. It's perfectly fine. The pacing is going great. I don't want to drag this out, even if, logically, if the boss has the ability to, like, block and parry your attacks, he should try, but I was just like, nah, as the GM, I think this fight is going at the pace I want it to. I know that we've already had a long session. I don't need to drag it out. It is already doing what I wanted, you know? And I know sometimes GMs will be like, no, the stat book says he parries. Go to parry. And you don't really have to, guys. Like, read the room. Go with the flow. All right, but I think our lengthy, multifold RPG talk has carried this episode pretty long. I'm sure the people at home are eager to see you complete your Magic Treehouse. We have been going for almost 4 hours. And I did run out of steam halfway through. Otherwise, my voice would have. So I don't know. About the Star Wars stuff, I think you had you know, said you're happy for stuff. You were social. I think.
Should I get a sexy dress? I should get a sexy dress. Do I want a sexy dress? They probably think no. Wait, actually, are there gonna be any other Jedi at this party? Fuck. I need an invite list. I need to see who's there. Shit.
Well, Webb, who's been RSVP.
Webb ain't gonna care. She sees my weird ass all the time.
Actually, you're the only Jedi Knights on planet, so no, I think you're the only guys who made the invite list cut.
Okay, cool. I'm just worried like maybe some like off-world Jedi would show up and be all like, "We are here."
No, you don't have to. You don't have to worry about looking cool in front of a Jedi map. At least right now. I don't know.
Well, again, it's one of those things I'm wondering about because Master Lago's gone, so that means this. Like, can Jedi Knights just be like? Or they,
yeah, you can just mind your own business. You guys are knights. You're generals.
Okay, cool.
Fine, you're just slim at it.
Okay, cool.
Eventually, the Order should probably call you up and be like, "Yo, we've got some Padawans for you to train," but they're a little slam jammed right. As much as I wanted to get that trope early on, I think we're gonna skip that one, giving Arama her own Padawan, just because I think it would fuck with the pacing.
It would slow it down a bit, I would think. Yes.
Yeah. Like there are even interesting mechanics for like having like an apprentice, somebody training under you, but I'm like, no, I think that would be yet another like complete-bodied NPC who would be in everything, and we already don't interact with our NPCs who are always.
Skirk, I love you, I really do, but sometimes I just forget about you, girl.
Skirk, blending naturally. Skirk just jumps out of the bush and kills a space. I will go where the space.
No.
But yeah, like there's, I mean, the red carpet will probably be locally holocammed. Your sector senator is there. But I wrote this in my notes as well. There would probably be an official entrance which is discreet, which is not the red carpet if you want to slip in the back way like a cool guy. That's pretty typical for celebrity stuff, even on like small places. Plus, you never know. The senator might need to leave the back way. Something horrible happens. He gets wine on his shirt.
Oh no! A social faux pas if I have ever heard of one. Actually,
but all right. Yeah. Was there anything? I mean, I'm pretty sure we asked this several times over the past couple of hours. I don't think there's anything else we wanted to talk about, though.
No, not really. No, I think we got the breath.
Like, I finally remembered my thing about Glitch Mob.
Oh, maybe if I bring a branch down here on the third, that will fucking... Yeah, if I bring a branch down there and make it go down a little bit, I can balloon it up a little bit. That might be what I need to do.
But I think we need to do that. No. People are asking about Gensekai updates. No movement there. Honestly, the thing that's really been in my mind, and I haven't been writing all of it down, but I've been thinking about a lot, is I've been thinking a lot about major Star Wars beats a lot.
It's like some major Star Wars thing came out, and it's on our mind now.
Oh, yeah. You should definitely expect now there's going to be definitely some interesting more set pieces, possibly. And, like, action stuff, because there was a lot of diversity of that in Visions.
I need more wood. Man, it's like...
Wood for sheep.
Man, it's...
We'll end it on that joke. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, I haven't watched it yet. I did see that the Jackbox staff streamed. I remember what the name of that one game was. It's literally Weapons Drawn. Literally called Weapons Drawn, the game where you draw weapons. Apparently, they streamed the prototype a while ago. I do want to kind of go back and watch that because that's going to be pretty interesting. October will be very interesting with video games. I expect a lot of news from us off and on, but also I literally don't think I can buy and play all these games as they come out. Just because, God, there's so many of them. By next week, I hope to have actually played some Deathloop. I don't think I can contain myself that much longer. If it means me playing Skyward Sword has to suffer a little bit, that's okay. Like I said way earlier, if some of you haven't been here for that, Skyward Sword is all right. I like it, but it's a little sloggy. The motion controls make it a little clunky to go through, so like I have to take breaks.
Mm-hmm.
I get kind of frustrated sometimes with all the fiddly bits. You think I wouldn't, because it's got some stuff I love in there. There's a fucking double claw shots. Double claw shots comeback. It's great. I love it.
Double claw shot.
Yeah, it's super fun. There's a whip item that's pretty fun to use. It's the other half of the claw shot, right? Like, so the double claw shots are mostly for traversal and occasionally grabbing enemies, but the whip is like for grabbing and manipulating items. So like, oh, this thing's got a little loopy thing. I'll just flick my whip at it, pull on it. Pretty fun, but it's also got lots of its own unique foibles. So like I said, I'll bust into Deathloop. Remember to tune in Monday to see Keen on the Bridge of Spirits.
I'm excited. I want to see this game.
Yeah, and what I've heard at least is that it's worth seeing. It's supposed to be very pretty. We'll get you some nice display out of my source files there. I'll be ready to rock and roll. Like I said, I hope all my driver stuff is finished. Knock on computer. Yeah, that's that.
Yeah, so let's get on.
Yeah, all the usual stuff. Make sure to, if you haven't yet, please go back and watch Let's Talk FGO. Came out earlier today. It's a shorter one, so I'm sure you can catch up a little faster. It's doing all right for video. Also, like I said, I heartily recommend this week's progression tournament if you're a fan of Yu-Gi-Oh! At all, and maybe if you're not, I don't know. Well, I mean, the duels are pretty interesting. I don't know if anything else is interesting, so there's that. I also do know that, as he does sometimes, Martha's being kind of a madman. I think he's going back through some of our old progression episodes and is posting a lot of time codes.
Oh.
For, like, when stuff happens, so, you know, if you haven't watched progression, now might be a good time as he's been cycling through some of those episodes and then, you know, posting some time codes in the comments. Also, yes, this came up in the chat as well. If you have not watched Monday's stream of Bloodstained, it is our finale to Bloodstained. Lucky gets the bad ending and the good ending.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, we're very comprehensive. He fights the bonus boss too. It's great.
You know you giggle.
And like I said, we went out of our way, and Lucky especially went out of his way to talk about some stuff that he missed on last week's What's Up as well. So be sure to check that out. Stay tuned for future stuff, and then do the whole outro. If you like this video, be sure to give it a like. You guys are slacking again. There's 11 viewers and only 8 likes. Shucks. But throw us a like. It feeds your algorithm gods and you know, helps keep everything circulating, lets people know about this thing. I assume likes are why some people find our rando old videos that I have no idea why they get views. But check out those. If you have any comments, you can leave them in the comment section down below or join our Discord. Link is in the description or on our channel page. Oh, it's 11 and 10 now, but when I called it out, it was 8. I'm using my sweet YouTube backend. But yeah, you can join our Discord. Link is in the comments. Some places it's our vanity URL. Some places it's our old school link. But our vanity URL is just Discord GG StudiOmega. Join anywhere. Cool. I'm glad we have a vanity URL. It's cute. If only I could copy it directly from Discord's app, guys. UI. Speaking of UI, you should make sure to sub to this channel if you haven't already, so you get all of our new videos right in your sub box when you log in. You don't need to have it recommended to YouTube because YouTube recommendations are weird, and they'll just keep recommending you videos you've already watched, even though you literally watched them earlier today. YouTube, what the fuck? So sub to us so you can always get our latest videos. Also, remember to hit that bell for notifications so you always know post a new video or when we stream, so when we're streaming What's Up or Monday streams, or Fail Portrayal. Fail Portrayal came back last week. We had some free time on Tuesday. That's another thing you should check out. I don't know. It's been a little bit, so I don't know how many people were ready for it, but you should go back and check it out if you didn't. It's pretty fun. We yell about burbs and burb people.
Burb.
So notifications let you know when, you know, I decide to randomly stream on a Tuesday. You should also consider joining our channel membership. Hit the join button or the link in the description below. Get access to membership badges and emotes displayed in our live chat now. Those are not just for live streams, they'll also work in the comment section. And like I said at the front of the show, consider supporting us on Patreon. You can get access to episodes early. You can get access to episodes in audio format, downloadable for as little as $1 a month or about $10 a year. At higher levels, you can access topic polls, early video releases, Let's Talk FGO recorded live, on-air shoutouts, etc., and it really helps support us. And, you know, we got a new month rolling up in, so consider supporting us. All right, that's it. I'd love to make this go on for like 2 more minutes, but I just did the whole outro, so that's it. That's over.
That's it. It's over, and we're going to hit that button. So, everyone, I will see you next time. Bye.